I do it every time as a joke. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another fantastic day here as we're going to be doing some of the tryouts here for Team Turkey for the World Cup of 2026. It's going to be a fantastic time, and I can find no better person to do this with than the EU, I want to say expert himself, Spectrion. And Spectrion, you're gonna be carrying me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be very candid here, but you're a smart individual. This should be a good day here today because we get to watch a lot of amazing players, and it's going to be a long weekend of tryouts for a lot of these players.
In Face It EMEA last season, and I don't believe there was a single Turkish player in Face It Master Division. I mean, maybe it's different when we look at a different division, of course. I mean, I'm looking now at Expert instead, and no, it doesn't look like that either. So this is going to be a lot of us trying to develop a new talent to try and spot those quote unquote uncut gems and see if we can't get a rather impressive tournament run going.
Yeah, that's honestly the hope here. I mean, a lot of these squads, especially early in the year, they're very optimistic and about, hey, let's build the best team we can. We're gonna have all this time to be able to develop and see what we can do with that. And this gives a lot of opportunity, not just obviously for players of the past to come in and show, hey, I've still got it, but a lot of new faces as well that I've been able to develop. Because remember, we are 3 years out from the last World Cup. So
yeah.
We've had a lot of players been up and coming over the last couple of years, and I think you're going to see a lot of new faces, which was honestly the same situation that happened back in 23, where it's like people who obviously were past the generation of 2019, of like early Overwatch League style, where it felt like we had this transition to the new generation. It feels like we're kind of been going that way now as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a national scene for a country. There's always going to be a certain amount of like knowledge about who's good from your local area. Obviously, in the UK, we always have that. We have something of a mental tier list of who we think is going to be on the team. With Turkey, I'm sure they've already had those thoughts. I'm sure they already have something of a notion about who's going to actually be playing. Obviously, it's not going to be as confirmed as it would if we were planning a World Cup every single year, but you've got this sort of notion in the back of your head, and you're just trying to confirm or deny that actually in the server. You want to show that you're good enough, and this is your opportunity for it.
Yeah, and obviously this is a big opportunity for a lot of these players to be able to step on more of that global stage to show what they have in front of a lot of different people. And it's going to be really entertaining to see what they could do here today, because over the last several weeks, I've been able to see a lot of different players from a lot of different regions where I looked at and say, I'm not familiar with this person. And by the time that game was over, Spec, I became very familiar with their game. Very familiar. I'm like, all right, I'm going to see you in a few months here. I know that for a fact. But I hope we have those breakout players here today. And obviously, the committee and everyone who's here today, they want these players to break out and be like, all right, we feel like these are the players that are going to take us to that next level, to push us to levels that we have not reached in a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, I think most committees are now selected. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure Turkey already has been. I haven't seen one for the UK, but realistically, we kind of know who's going to be doing that. Like, it's going to be Chris. They're giving it to Chris. He's in charge. For better or for worse, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really loving this period in general. Like pre-World Cup, everyone's beginning to prepare. I know you've already cast some World Cup show matches. There's more going on right now. And just in general, obviously the World Cup is a world event, but it always for me feels the most exciting here in EMEA, where that is the most different countries, right? At least in close proximity to each other, which is why we have two conferences, why we have so much talent who's kind of spread across the region. Now they finally have a chance to coalesce, come together, and fight for some national pride. I do love it here, and I feel like this event is so good for the region.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely fantastic for for those very reasons alone. Honestly, is that we have that pride that comes through, where we can kind of celebrate the World Cup in a lot of different ways, because it's not every day that You know, we look back to the quote unquote glory days of Overwatch League, where you had a bunch of people in the same building at once, from different regions, all playing against each other, and that's the one thing we get out of the World Cup that we don't really get all the time. It's like you can say we get that when we have things like our lands with OWCS, but there are other regions that don't necessarily get to that stage all the time, and we don't get to see them represented in that way. But Turkey is here to see represented today, and especially I'm ready to get things underway. Our first map of the day, and I am just so excited to see what these players can do, because I'm completely candid when I say I'm not fully familiar with a lot of these players, but by the time we're done with this, I want to be very familiar.
Indeed. I mean, we're in a place in the meta where you still have room for individual exploration, right? It's not like anything's like hard settled into the Debtors that we kind of saw last patch. That being said, Debtors still very strong. Obviously, we've seen success from Domina, some value from Cat. But by and large, you're probably going to be on some like Tracer Soj setup. Tracer's good because she's Tracer, Soj good because she's Soj. Especially like with your spread being a strength again on Tracer. Cassidy, obviously we've been seeing a decent amount of. Braven currently looking at in the moment, but short sidelines, it's nice. Long sidelines, you can often get punished by your lack of range and your vulnerability to Debtor pressure.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams kind of go at it with the Vendetta a lot. Obviously, you throw in things like the Zarya into that equation, which is still honestly very strong, all things considered. And that combo's been a go-to for a lot of different teams, it feels like. But also, a lot of teams kind of fall into their comfort, into their style, because as you know, Spec, different regions, different countries tend to go about styles a little bit differently. Sometimes it's a little, you know, a little basic in terms of, oh, we prefer the Tracer to the Soldier, and sometimes it's, hey, we love Dive, or we love Brawl, or we love Poke. We tend to fall under that realm a lot of the time right here, and it does tend to enunciate their own strengths and what they can do. But obviously, everybody here playing from the same region, we'll see if there's any meshing of styles here today.
I mean, I would expect it to be relatively standard EU fare, again, because we spend so much time playing in more standard, like, EMEA as a concept than, like, a specific Turkish style of play. Then ends up everyone kind of plays the same as everybody else. The play style is more going to be defined by which players specifically happen to be really strong. That's what we're kind of here to find out.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to see. But first fight of the Team Turkey Tryouts are underway. We'll see how things get going right out the gate here, as we'll officially refer to them as blue and red moving forward. But we're excited to see, obviously, Domina, Death Killer making that display right now, trying to push forward onto Cabby, who on the Ramatra. But we have that first pick going through of this series, as you see Red start pushing everybody back. Cabby trying to stay alive a little while longer, but it is just not going to happen, as about the gate we are seeing the power that this Domina has had, and Domina feels like one of the more dominant takes right now, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, I'd say that's absolutely the case. Avalok and the Fox going for that really far cliffside angle is a nice idea, but when you have a Ramatra on your main, then you're going to really struggle actually having the damage check to stop him just being walked. Death Killer holds the W keep of more damage than the opposing tank straight up, and because that first fight in favor of the blue side.
Yeah, no, 100%. But heading to the next one right now. TP into the back line. Are going to get booted back momentarily, though, so going to be a little separated for a moment, especially Cabby over on the point right now. But you see this pressure to the back line where Lico's just trying to give everything they have to kind of deliver pressure, force everybody back as much as possible. But right now, there's a whole lot of running going on, not a whole lot of dying, as Kitsune Rush is going to get the fight going on. Ermac just a little bit behind on their own. Kitsune Rush needs to here very quickly to keep Cabby alive. But instead, you're going to see Lico go down early in this exchange, as Death Killer going to let go of that Panamacon. It is not going to get a whole lot, though, as Red will take over the points.
Not a terrible idea from Death Killer there. Panoptic on the high ground to the 90 peaks there for a little while. Unfortunately, there's multiple people shooting at you. And Domino not having a stable cooldown means that you just end up falling over anyhow. Obviously, relatively spanny fight for the now attacking blue side. Their opponents don't have that same issue, and so an annihilation in the choke is going to be incredibly tricky to attempt to overcome.
Yeah, no, 100%. Pulse Bomb thrown into the ether, just not going to get anything here. But Avalanche still goes down regardless, but the trade-off's beginning to come through out the gate. Remember, Farouk is still going to have the sound barrier if they want to decide to go with the aggression, but you kind of have to save that for something like the Annihilation, or eventually the Sound Barrier from the other side of things, as eventually all going to come through, going to cause a little bit of separation in this fight. Should be done and dusted, but Lico's keeping them in this one, but Cabbing is just too strong to deal with that Ramatra in so many settings, as Death Killer extremely low. Lucky to still be alive, as somehow, Dex, they're trying to pull this one back around, as Death Killer on the outside. Unfortunately, it just feels too far separated.
Ultimately, with Ult's advantage, you're going to win that fight. We use the wall,
Yeah.
we find the fight, even if it was probably a better walk-up coming through from blue side. So Death Killer's still alive and respawns, maybe some ultimates as well, means this is still under contention.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say, Sound Barrier is still ready, but you're going to have Stellar Fox being taken out early on. The Panopticon does come online, causes separation from Cabby, who eventually going to be burnt away. Remember, no healing can go through that while the barrier is still alive, so unfortunately, Cabby just has to, fortunately, take the death there.
If Silver Fox stays alive, able to drop a Sound Barrier of their own, then we are still in control of the point as the red side. Instead, going right down to the wire here, first day of Team Turkey Tryouts. Both sides actually got pretty decent tools, so it is just going to come down to superior positioning, and that Dominant has that in spades. So I would say lead here to blue side.
Ooh.
No more Lekkerdo's an issue.
Yeah, and that's a rough pick to have this early on, and you're heading the final fight here pretty soon, so you see the double investment of dual support ultimates in this situation, trying to break through quickly, and they're going to triple down. Cabbing gonna let go of this Annihilation. It's going to cause separation eventually. This fight will be done and dusted. A little bit more stall comes through. We get to 91. It's going to extend just a little bit further. Going to try to push it over to 99 as the Pulse Bomb comes out, and that was the only ult that they had.
Not a bad idea. Try to invest everything into getting it to 100 and over the line, recognizing you're basically at last fight territory. Unfortunately, you allow a bit too much walk up. Because of that, now you're the ones who have to get that touch. As you mentioned, no ults online. The Panopticon's close, but you still need time, and it just doesn't have that.
You just do not. I mean, there's no reason to not pick up the aggression here in a second. Build up to that beam. Try to run down Death Killer right here. So at the moment that shield goes down, he's going to be pretty exposed. There's a lot of good cooldowns for the Dominant as well to survive a lot of situations like this. In fact, Panopticon now ready to go. Going to catch over on Cabby. Unfortunately, there's just too much separation going through. Red's hoping to close this one out, and it looks like they're gonna be able to do so here. Cabby goes down at the end, but it obviously will not matter. And honestly, I like the idea of going in with this Dominant, trying the style right here, but you have a situation where Red feels like they're finding some more of these early picks in situations where it's like, if someone like Lico goes down early, you see Blue just decide to sometimes fight anyway. It's a whole style. It's their own way to go about it, Spec. What's your opinion?
I think Domino as a character is one who lives and dies by your ability to micromanage your space, right? If you're a range where you're not getting punched but you can shoot your gun, you're happy. If you're getting punched but you can shoot your gun, it doesn't matter. You're getting punched. You have no grasp, you have no like form, you have no gold, you're gonna die. And I think we're still figuring out exactly where to position yourself, and I think Death Killer is occasionally getting the right foot forward, occasionally not. I think the biggest mistake these teams are making is we're often looking for these long mid-fight rotations to get our hits on high ground. It's nice, I guess, but we're losing so much uptime that basically every time I've seen it, the team who's committed towards it is losing the fight because they're just 3v5 for so long. Points to be taken, that's something you see every day. Now Queen for Death Killer.
Yeah, and I like this. Going right to the point. It's going to force them to have to rush in here. And to be fair with the Junker Queen, it's maybe one of the better characters to do this kind of style. But you need to have these cooldowns ready and be careful not to take too much poke. And Adi's unfortunately going to be the first one to go down here. You take away that Symmetra, you take away a lot of that ability to kind of burn down a tank right here as point close to being able to unlock. Bodies starting to throw themselves on. They might have to recover and let the cap go through, but instead, they're going to pursue a run to the point anyway. And unfortunately for Death Killer, it's not going to work out, and I think perhaps that extra 3 or 4 seconds of patience could have done them really well there.
I don't have the foggiest idea how Raven was able to find himself all the way on the point on Cassidy. Unfortunately, didn't find the value. Maybe you want to. We're still battling here on the objective. Ennis could go down. Surely not. Lekko there with a melee.
Yeah, finishing them off, and again, you stall it out a little bit longer. You take away 50%. At the end of the day, that 50%, it could be like a make or break thing later down the line for all we know, and it doesn't hurt a whole lot. You don't give them a whole lot of charge either.
Indeed. I mean, 15%, not the end of the world, actually. You'll give over that for a longer cap. And going to be eclipsing that only now. No one actually having all, yeah, but in a bit of a race. The match is Tsune rushes Eddie's are pre-fighted.
Yeah, that TP getting, I mean, it just gets blown up immediately with them getting there. You lose out on your sim. It's just hard to do anything from that point on. But this fight's still happily going forward right now. ACGs go over to that Tracer to try to get back in this situation. Pulse bomb thrown out.
Nice.
Ermac, unfortunately, falling right on top of it. This fight should also be done and dusted, but instead we see a bit of the investment coming through here. And that's going to clear this fight away as 40% on the board. You only throw in the DPS ultimates as well, and you still have the Kitsune Rush ready.
And it's not like you even used the clock. We've used Pulse, we've used Deadeye. It's absolutely okay. As you mentioned, you've got lead on beat, you've got that Kitsune Rush unmirrored. You are in the driver's seat absolutely here. There's not many options, in fact, that Red Team have, other than hope that Avalanche lands a headshot, that Edis lands a wall.
Yeah, obviously, you got to hope for situations like this, but you're going to go in over on the point right now. You might be able to wall this off, and yeah, the way they're separated, no touch is going to come through. Wall just going to barely mess up the Death Killer, who now is going to be able to have this Annihilation, and nothing's going to stop it at this moment. You obviously have the Cleanse to have to deal with right here. But they're going to move in, try to find something, going to catch on to two members, but Beat and Cleanse both going to respectively be there. But the boop comes through for Varu, taking these off the edge, but still, Cabby more than happy to go with the investment here. Unfortunately, it is not going to work out. It is just going to be the stall game as Braven finishes off the last couple as Varu gets the boop at the end to finish the fight off.
When playing Lucio into Queen Comb, then obviously you need to save the sound barrier for Rampage, otherwise your entire team dies. But the issue with this is that if they also have beat, they can just laser beat you and win basically every time anyway. So the Fox, unfortunately, doesn't find value when you possibly could. There's a very short punish window, and because of that, end up losing the fight. 85%. Lekko dead though, an opening.
Yeah, this is going to be the big fight opening to be able to take something here. Avalanche is going to get forced back, and in fact, taking it down. So now, it is becoming something a little bit more of a nightmare. It started so strong, it's starting to transition over to the point. With it being 95% on the board, Free's going to be ready over on the point. It's not going to catch anybody immediately, though. Death Killer does get caught momentarily, hit with the Cleanse to be able to break out of it. Unfortunately, this is just a stall game for Team Red here, trying to hold on for as long as they can. Deadeye ultimately going to help finish things off. Kitsune Rush is there, but it will be meaningless as we'll head to our third round, which with a Scrimco we would have anyway. But you know what? Why not a little bit of dramatic tension?
Yeah, they go down to the wire. This one, obviously, a little bit less close than the previous. The Queen just seems a lot more comfortable for Death Killer. Obviously, nobody's had a chance to play that much Domina just yet. And so I think people are still kind of developing it. Junker Queen, though, been out since Overwatch 2, no? So,
yeah,
you're gonna know how to play it a little bit better. Really, it's as simple as that. It is of note that Braven's playing the Cassidy rather than the Soj here. Cass, if you put a toe out of line, you're going to get exploded. You don't have an escape cooldown. Like a Soj and like a Freya does, even to a lesser extent. And so it is interesting to see. Fresh look, in fact, from the other side with Cabby over to the D.Va. Better at taking wider angles. You're generally playing for much slower fights than you were on the Ramacha, especially the Ramacha May, the Ramacha Sim. Just waiting for somebody to land a shot, be that Avalak or Edis with an overhead.
Yeah. Excited to see what will happen this instant. I think the D.Va will work out a little bit better in the situation. It's going to, I think, maybe open things up more for Avalanche as well to get a little bit more of that poke game going, but we'll see what gets on display right here. It's not a whole lot changing for the blue side. Really trying to keep that consistency that they had during that second round, and honestly, you can't blame them in the slightest for trying to stay down this path. You see the aggression with Eddie's now over on that Vendetta. That has been such a popular pick for teams right here. Unfortunately, Trade-Out does come through, and I don't know how much you favor that in this situation, especially as Blue makes their way over to the point. Pressure going to come through as barely going to stay up. Eventually will be taken off the head as he tried their hardest to stay on that one. But with that boot coming through, going to try to get one more touch in. Khabib will be able to do it, but it looks like for the time being, Farouk's just got to take the reset.
Pretty sloppy engagement in the backline there. Just of the Detta and the D.Va going in. There's a lot of attention on the Detta, which is why it gets punished and makes it swap over to the Tracer. But in the Chaos fight, then the D.Va comp is naturally better. The Queen not stacked as hard with her teammates. Eventually punished. First cap in favor of the red side. closer to their ultimates, obviously more point percentage and defensive positioning to boot makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it really does make it a lot easier. You're trying to work up to some of these ultimates as well. Obviously, like how closest right now with that pulse bomb. But obviously, you're trying to build up things like that, get Cinder Rush, something that you can break through a fight so quickly when you have a good Cinder Rush in that situation. As you see the pursuing coming through into the back line. A lot of people getting low. Unfortunately, Death Killer all out on their own now, as the point will get capped momentarily. And technically, this fight not over yet. Death Killer needs to stay up to keep it going with that cleanse out. 3 people going to be taken in there. Pembe going to be knocked out of the mech right here. And with that, you should be able to see Blue stabilize.
Indeed. Takes a little while, but at the end of the day, as you mentioned, this blue team finding that stabilization, it is because they've got lead on Rampage. Obviously coming through just before the Fox has that sound barrier, just 5% off any later, and we're probably not finding that same amount of value, but first cap not in their favor. Again, we're getting closer on to equalizing, my mistake. Casino Rush on the bridge is powerful, but most sides don't tend to go towards it, so it's just going to be extended shooting as we wrap through right room.
Yeah, 100%. Now you have double Casino Rush, but Farouk a little more behind when it comes to that sound barrier as well. So we'll see what kind of difference it's going to make in this situation, as here comes that Casino Rush online from both sides early on. Maybe Raven is going to have this Deadeye to be able to make a little bit more space should they desire. And with the cleanse out, you can see that opening up soon, but Avalanche going to take care of business instead, as Cabby forced out of the mech is going to opt to not use the remech in this situation. And honestly, for the better, as that fight ends up being a losing effort, but they still end up using 3 ultimates for it.
Really not fantastic for you. And now the Fox is a bit of a weird conundrum. You know that the Queen's getting closer and closer to another Rampage, but you've also been holding this sound barrier for a little while now. Do you hold to go for later beat? Do you hold for a Rampage? Or you just invest it, hope it forces a response out? None feels particularly good, but when you're getting closer and closer to this first map being over, then you've got to make a choice and make one soon.
Yeah, you have to. Whatever you do, you need to just simply commit to it. Give it your effort, and there you go. And Avalanche down early. The sound barrier is still ready to go, but so low, and just here to pull it, and is not going to be able to. And with that, you're just worried about someone staying alive long enough to be able to go and get the touch. But even now, that's not promised at all. It's Adiz is going to be able to get there and get that. The remech will come through for Cabby, but you're just going to have to try to get back on the Lucio, and it will come back as Lyco goes off the edge. So maybe this opens up some kind of door to pull something back right here. But I just don't think that's going to be the case, as they're going to be pushed back, and you're going to have Team Blue be able to finish this one off soon. Just a little bit more stall coming through, as yeah, I expect that will end that one.
That it shall. Well played from both teams so far. We definitely got to see some bright moments from both of them. Obviously, that Gardens wasn't so fantastic from I think that was Red Team, but not their point, right? We were trying different comps, we were trying different looks. Trying to see exactly how everything is working out, and so far I am, liking what I'm seeing. Well, I do think Queen value is, what's the word? A lot of Queen value is inherent, right? If you just, use your ultimate correctly, then you basically control the, at least one fight's ult rotation, which is super, super powerful, without you even needing to do too much if you are Deathbringer. That being said, even outside of just using this ultimates, I thought it was pretty good ebb and flow being played from that tank. And for Cubby, we've seen, and like I said, we're on 3 tanks so far. We're on Ram, we're on Diva, we're on
Domina, I believe.
Domina, yes. We some have worked out better than others. The Diva wasn't crazy. But it's also kind of a hard position for it, where you're looking to play extended shooting on purely flat ground. Someone's going to get ran at. And so you have to hope that you don't get knifed, that none of your teammates get knifed, else you do just get punished very, very easily. So it's a tough matchup. Not something I expect to see here on King's Row, though, where the map geometry, you might as well just play like a Zarya, play like a Hazard. That's the common choice here, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll obviously see what the route goes down right now. You're seeing quite a bit of the same. You are seeing the Mizuki out here, which I think people have obviously not locked in yet, as for still in the spawn, but we're very, I think, back and forth on it. I don't think Mizuki is given in the best of light in terms of what they can do with their kit compared to some of the other new heroes that we've had. But we'll see whether or not any of the new heroes make the display, because obviously the new heroes are very much open, as you saw the Domina earlier on. But I mean, Spec, while we have a moment, I haven't had your proper opinion of a lot of the characters, the new ones. Are there any you feel particularly strong about outside of the Domina?
I mean, obviously, I think Dominus is the most effective. I think Cat has use cases, but I think he's ultimately a gimmick pick.
Yes.
I feel like once teams learn to react to bastions and bombs and bobs flying over their heads, then, especially with like Lucio speed, you will find more value in a given fight. I think on run, I enjoy her hero design, but I think her numbers are just a bit too low right now. So some tweaking with those would bring her into more of a position where she can contest with Detta with Tracer. Because obviously she doesn't have Tracer's ability to live basically indefinitely, nor does she have Vendetta's overhead swing, like burst damage, easy kill. So she does feel outvalued by those two very often. I think Mizuki's kind of useless. I don't really see what he does. He can't really heal main. He can't really help flank. He like AoE heals a bit, but where he doesn't speed. So he's bad in Brawl because he doesn't speed. He's got no like big stable cooldown like a cleanse or a lamp. He's bad in dive because he doesn't do anything. He can't follow the dive. He can't help the dive from afar. And in poke setups, why is this team like 5-man stacking around him to get value from his auras? That's also not what we want to see. We want to see wide angle supported. So I do think it's probably a bit of a miss. Might need another look at if we want to see him in organized play. Emre, interesting actually. Your ability to control main via high damage, especially control the enemy tank, is not a bad concept, but you have no burst, you have no escape cooldown. Like I always say, if you're not playing Sojourn, you need to have a very good reason why. I'm not quite sure Emre provides it yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk a little bit more about this as we keep going forward and see how we view some of these characters. But speaking of characters that are still on the newer side, the Vendetta coming back here again, as he's going to be bringing it out. I talked briefly about that pairing with the Zarya, how effective it can be. It is scary for some teams right here, and you see Braven and Deathkiller trying the same thing. Does not work out when you lose out on the Vendetta so quickly, and this first fight is done in blistering speed.
He's bringing the sword down on pretty much everybody's noggins. They don't seem to like it much. They're allowed to live for an extra second, but only that. Yeah, I mean, obviously what we saw in Face It Master, EMEA, right? The team who won, I found basically no success until this patch came through, and suddenly they're beating everybody off the back of this comp. It's not like that was the only factor, of course. They had made changes, they practiced more, but it is absolutely undeniable. This comp right now is absolutely busted. It is allowed to extricate himself by dint of being on these characters. The Bizarre Bubble combined with the block is so survivable.
It really is, and it's tough to go into this, but when you have Avalanche on your squad like that, taking care of the Tracer early on, it opens up the big door for you to keep things going as well. Eventually, you're going to have to pursue something here. You're in such an awkward situation where you have no right but to try something here and try to take somebody out, but whether they can get out alive is starting to become very questionable. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody's getting out of this one alive. There's no reason for them to be able to.
Maybe the Curie, and even then it needs to be here with a chase. Low HP, no cleanse, no DP, and that is another dead player. Nothing's gone in favor of blue team so far. He's just been W-king down lane.
Yeah, it's a little rough right now, but I mean, your bright side is even though you've been losing a lot of these fights, you're going to have your Graviton Surge on first right here. You don't have anything to particularly pair it up with. You have obviously the Pulse Bomb you could throw out there, but Ermac with the Cleanse is available as Consider Rush to use early on. Pulling everybody into the grab right here as Consider Rush is going to be thrown for both sides. Hoping to find a little something here as Adi's going to have the Sundering Blade online shortly, but honestly might not be needed as bodies have to throw themselves over on the point. Adi's close to going down, but will be kept up at the last second, and now this is 5.5 minutes going into third point here. This is blistering speed right now for Team Red.
One of the things, obviously, we're noticing is just how much sustain this comp has, how much peel you have for somebody who does get solo grab. Because not only does Adiz have the pretty insane damage mitigation that comes from your block, the user's going to get Cleanse, you get Zarya bubbles, and depending on whether you're playing Lucio, or Wu Yang, you get either a Sound Barrier or a Tidal Blast. Can't block that, however. Farouk able to arc a shot and finally create an opening pill.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to keep things stem for just the moment right here. Obviously, there's still a massive alt disadvantage when it comes to Team Blue that you're going to have to deal with here. And you almost want to take this fight on the point and force them to use as much as possible and give yourself a better opportunity as the grab comes out. The Sundering Blade being thrown in there as well to try to cut people down. Braven will be the first one to fall, and this fight should be done and dusted from there. But again, you get 2 ultimates out. You get to go into this next fight with your own Sundering Blade, but that is about it.
Indeed. That being said, Sundering Blade is a powerful tool in of itself. Lekko tries to live, does not succeed. A little bit of sleep going for the health pack, not able to dodge one of those orbs with a blink. And so the cart continuing to make its way towards the end of the map. If we're 3 players, cart, we maybe could have even got a cap, but we're looking to play for one final fight instead.
Yeah, and you see SA is already taken care of, and Braven can't even get the Sundering Blade out here as Avalanche is going to go wild on the Sojourner. Already gotten rid of 2 right here, trying to force everybody over off the point. It is just going to be stall time here, less than 5 meters to go, and that 5 has quickly turned to 0. 3:56 on the clock. I want to say it's nothing to scoff at. It is something to celebrate right now if you're the players on red.
You lost, what, 4 seconds going through King's Row?
Yep.
It's not so bad, is it not? Obviously not fantastic for your opponents. For those who don't remember the rule set on this game mode, then you want to go extra innings, which I don't believe we are. It's a scrim game mode. Then you would be looking to get past with time. But again, because we are in a scrim, then we're just seeing exactly how far you can now take it if you're blue team. But maybe mentally, you're already a little bit checked out of this map. You had your successes, map number 1. But what, Lucia ban, I assume?
I do not think there were bans in place. I will double check, but I don't think there was any bans in place. Yeah, which honestly...
we were told to play Zarya, Vendetta, Mira, but people just seem to have unilaterally decided that Lucia isn't finding value here, which is really interesting to me, actually.
Yeah, it is interesting, but you kind of will make those calls at some points. And while this is obviously a big tryout, they are going to be trying different things because they want to see how many strengths these players have, what they can bring to the table. And that makes a lot of sense at the end of the day. It's one thing if you go into a tryout and you play the same comp for 2.5 hours in, and then it's like, hey, guess what? Meta's completely changed. This comp's not viable anymore. And it's like, well, we have to reevaluate things, but you can't because you've already locked yourself in place. So you're going to see a lot of different things here today and over the course of the entire weekend. But yeah, just more of the Zarya Vendetta, which again is just so incredibly powerful. It's kind of a wonder how it hasn't been touched to some extent so far, but it's hard. It feels like it's hard to do without just like completely tanking one of these characters.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of it is just a noise. Like, Vendetta makes no noise. So it's really hard to read some of these engages. It's just... the mental acuity you need to track the character across the map is just more than what you'd really like to do. And of course, having 2 mobility cooldowns as well. Super viable. At these low HP, pressure coming through. Over onto Kabi with 1-for-1.
Yeah, you don't hate that at all at the end of the day. Again, you're going to have Farouk that's going to have the faster spawn. Unfortunately, Braven, very brave in that situation, tries to go for that. Just does not work out that well. You see pressure over on the point. Lekko might be able to force the tick, but unfortunately just will back up a little bit. Instead, try to regroup with the rest of their squad here.
Indeed. Oh, backline scaling here for Lekko. Maybe there's a chance of punishing to the Fox. Maybe also there's a chance of dying in a really weird position. To extricate himself, but apparently allowed to stay alive here and continues to be a threat.
Yeah, and Lekko does get the first blow here, and Cappy is just so hard separated. Eventually, they're going to be cleaning things up right now. Braven does get taken down as you still have to deal with the Vendetta Kiri in the room as Pulse Bomb out there. Cleanse, I believe, came in time, but both will be finished off anyway. Put 3 on, and that'll get your first point locked out. And honestly, this is already an improvement here for Team Blue.
I mean, absolutely. That being said, obviously, your opponent's having such a huge time bank is going to make any success feel somewhat empty until you're able to, you know, complete at least one phase of the map in a similar bank. Because you're still probably looking at a worse time. But as you mentioned, like only 1:20 to get first unlocked is still very good, especially in a vacuum. And so, to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, and you see the tree got thrown out there to be able to sustain everybody through. And to be fair, it gets you a little more space because Spec, of all of our time doing this, one of the most brutal places to be held sometimes is this archway right here. You want to do everything in your power to be able to break past it and not have to deal with the pain of having to push your way past it over and over and over again. And with the D is down, it does open up a path, especially you have that Tidal Blast ready to go there. You can throw on someone like Braven with the aggression. Unfortunately, it's not going to be there as we are seeing ults thrown into the stratosphere. Unfortunately, for Team Blue, they are not getting many results at the end of the day.
Yeah, not quite. Unfortunately, in the mirror, Kiriko versus Life Weaver, in terms of the ult trade, you're not winning out so much if you are the Weaver. The tree's nice, I guess, but very little matches the raw offensive power of the Kitsune Rush. Grab, bubble, invested. No punish.
Yeah, it's the only reason that Liko ends up living through that, but unfortunately, living doesn't exactly accomplish a whole lot in that situation. So everyone pushed back, pulse bomb thrown out. It's just gonna give a little bit of charge right there as they're gonna keep on pushing. And honestly, I don't blame them right now, as it looks like they won't be able to punish anybody. But again, this is just gonna kill time and get them charged.
You got all this forward space, and I was about to say it gives you a lot of resources you can bleed out before the fight. But if you have no Detta, no longer the case. You're 4v5. You need to figure out a way of trading it back and fast.
Yeah, and Avalanche, who ended up going pretty good before when we saw the overclock right here. Gets a little bit of space, isn't able to get a whole lot right here, as again, Tree of Life gonna make some space, but Nessie is taken out in the tree, and that's tough to do, but Farouk more than happy to get a little bit revenge over on the display. As you see, Red eventually going to be pushed back a little bit here. You see a little bit more stall over here on the cart when it comes to Southern, but eventually will be gone. But again, if you're Red, you're happy. You killed a ton of time off that clock.
Yeah, Red, what? Oh, 2 minutes and change on one corner. It's kind of fine. Your opponent spent heavily in that fight. They have to use the tree. Most notably, you come into this with Kitsu, Bubble, with a Sundering Blade, and with so many rooftops to slide off of, it's very hard for the blue team to predict exactly where DZ is going to be coming from. So, not the end of the world at all if you are red team. You're still looking at very likely a higher bank.
Yeah, and we see that Tidal Blast coming through. Going to try to reach somebody in time. Has the initial stun, but just cannot find the finish right here. It's going to be thrown back. Sundering Blade is still available. It's going to be barely kept up on top of it. No Graviton Surge to be able to match with it, though, as Farouk's going to let things loose. Trying to find something here with the connection. Unfortunately, doesn't really, but you are still finding the picks in this situation as you go ahead and invest the grab as well. You throw 3 ultimates into a fight, but honestly, in this situation, it's worth it to get through this second show. 3.5 minutes going into second, which, I mean, again, compared to how that initial defense for them went, again, this is good progress for them.
Yeah, it could absolutely be a lot worse. Obviously, they're not going to be so happy that, again, their time bank is guaranteed worse. But at the end of the day, like, you're competing, right? You messed up a couple fights. King's Row, and to a lesser extent, Hybrid as a game mode is very snowbally. You get snowballed, you can just walk it off and keep playing, which is exactly what they're doing. Just the clock for Braven, who's been relatively quiet so far on this Sojourn. Their opponents are pretty skinned, so as long as they do something before Cabby builds a grab, you're probably A-okay.
Yeah, and Farouk gets the early pick as well to the counterpart of the Wu Yang right here, which is honestly, that's fantastic. And now you jump in for the top rope right there to Death Killer. You find a nice finish. You still have Avalanche, who's cut off, eventually going to get the healing at the last second to be able to survive, but Ermac can't say the same thing, and now you're starting to blister forward. You're going to have the Tree of Life to sustain through this as Adiz is going to try to pull off their best Fleta impression here.
Indeed, but whatever might do. Braven, long sidelines, with a clock, almost clotheslines one. The grab is powerful, but actually doesn't kind of kill.
Yeah, and Tree of Life going to go separate. Cabby is going to be separated from the rest of their team. Raven's going to go in with the aggression, hoping to find that shot. Will eventually find 2 total, and they'll be able to finish the map with a good amount of time as well. Again, while it's not as much, I think it says a lot about a player and a team to be able to bounce back from a situation like that where, oh, they cap with basically 4 minutes on the clock, and we still managed to push it. It's not as good, but that ability to bounce back is really important for players.
Yeah, absolutely. They're able to hold their heads high and, again, finish with a healthy time bank. Minute 45, I believe it was, when they capped. That's objectively good. But you're basically always happy with this. Obviously, it's made, you know, again, I've said before, it makes it worse by comparison, but you've done well. And so, you know, you trolled, what, 2 fights? You'll take that. And the tryouts will, of course, continue. This is a double block, and so there's plenty of time to make up that incredibly minor mistake.
Yeah, again, they're obviously, as the things goes on, I think you're going to see players get a little more comfortable as it goes on. This is just how some players are. It feels like in situations like these, where it's like, the first map or two, it's like, hey, everyone's trying to, everyone's getting their stuff together, and you're going to see players improve more and more as the series goes on. And that's, again, that's what you want here at the end of the day, Spec, because no matter how you feel about any given anything going into the World Cup, one thing you want is for teams to be at their highest level of competition, so that we get the best result as players and countries get the best results for their teams, and that's what you want every single time.
Indeed. I believe we are shifting to a more standard pick ban, at least map. At least we're not going to be having any comps mandated by big government, by big Turkey. Kiriko going to be banned out first by the blue team. Red now an option to respond. Kind of makes sense with Farouk and Essie not seemingly want to play that character too much. The response is going to be Queens. Seems like a pretty standard target ban. Deathkiller was playing it. Cabby was not. No big surprises here.
Yep, just taking away options that the other team was using a lot more compared to the other. It's standard at the end of the day. Smart to go with that. And obviously these teams do have to practice these ban styles as well, because while it's going to become a factor, obviously it's already a factor. It's been a factor for competition for, it feels like, the longest time now, to the point where it is just complete normalcy. But I love it, and if Death Killers are we getting Reinhardt gaming in 2026, Spec? Is it happening?
Reinhardt, Anna, Lucio, this isn't even reinventing the wheel. This is just playing like we're in 2017 again. This is pretty deeply cooked, to be honest. Hey, we'll have to wait and see whether this is a real con, because it's fake. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. This is imaginary.
I don't know. Listen, man, I don't know. I've been, with amount of times back in South America where I've been baited into thinking, oh, they're definitely not going to run the ball or the hog here. It's like, oh my god, they're running the hog. Oh my god, there's no way.
I mean, a lot of this is like, if you know the team, because obviously if I've got like LH Crowdy, he's gonna play Ryan. Yeah. But if I see like, I don't know, like Hitori, and she plays Ryan, I'm gonna be a little bit more surprised. But no, we're starting out on it. No, Braven on the Iron, actually a character I didn't think is that hot. See if we get some of it.
Yeah, we'll obviously see in this situation right here, the Moira is out with it as well. This is going to be fascinating. And this is a comp that's going to be able to move extremely fast. Not as fast when Death Killer's taking a little bit of a nappy nap, but the support line gets run down in that first fight. It's just done and dusted right out the gate, as they're going to be able to cap this point, move forward, but they don't want to take any survivors here, but Adizen will get out alive, as you're going to see Blue take a really quick pace in most of these fights.
That's the only way of taking it. If they try and do any sort of slow play, then they're going to get outshot, which is why they're not even attempting it at any given point. Deathkiller goes for a pin, doesn't work out, but still, notice how nobody's even peeking the choke. We give space, we give chase, and then we look for hard engages on Reinhardt.
Yeah, 100%, but Deathkiller is a little alone right now. Eventually has to drop over onto the point. You love to keep the pressure up. Try to get rid of that Ryan early on and kind of take away that ability to really rush everybody down as effectively as you can, and 100% that is what they'll do as they're going to move on forward. Ermac over on the Baptiste in this situation, and it looks like they're going to keep on moving forward and be able to clear out this point. Already 60% for Blue, though. They would love to stall out as much as humanly possible, as we're going to end up capping out at 67%. No jokes being told here, ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't going to mention it, but okay,
I was going to either, but, you know.
What do you mean, but? There's no, like, what are you talking about? It's fine. If you find no Rhine value in a fight, then you lose. And we find no Rhine value. Nice scaling from Braven, actually. Able to get the boss out early on. Any more than that? Apparently. Kills Avalok.
Yeah, 100%. And Braven over on the Thonron's been nice so far, and is going to be able to get away from that pulse bomb that sticks onto him. But still, Death Killer's still getting low, health low too. You try to run them down, unfortunately, again, you have all the healing from that Moira. It's really difficult to deal with in any situation like that, as they're running it down, but while they're getting kills, again, that point not quite capped over, as Cold has to be used just to keep Death Killer alive, but the cap will eventually come through here, as Adie's alive, but just needs to reset.
Indeed. So we're going to be equaling at 71% now, of course, taking it a little bit further. Last fight territory here. A touch is going to have to come through. Pressure on Adiz for that, but a Shasta in the choke is going to make walking from the main team so hard.
Yeah, so incredibly difficult right here, but Shatter going to come through. It's going to catch on to Feeble, but feels like all you need in a situation like this. Adiding and Heavy are over on the point. but this is going to be stall more than anything else. Try to level lava long enough to get everybody back into this fight, but again, I mean, Ermac doesn't have the speed to be able to get back. Maybe LH gets back. In decides to invest. Cabby does have the bomb available. Is going to expend it, and luckily gets back up on the high ground. He's going to drop for it, but it's just going to be pinned, and the mech is lost again immediately. And this is just a long stall that eventually will go Blue's way.
That it shall. It gets some more charge towards another shatter to boot. Something that you really want to avoid if you're red. Because as you see, you have no counterplay to it. Even if you sound barrier, a lot of the time you're going to focus fire somebody through. And so, it's an incredibly scary option. Another attempt at the Rhine train this time doesn't work out.
Oh, yeah, and Vermilion is sent. Wait, oh, wait, yeah. Oh, my God, you are right.
Yep.
Oh, no. That's painful. I was like, certainly we don't see an Ajax today. Certainly. But no.
Sorry.
It's, but hey, it's gonna, the cap's gonna come through. And now that Farouk has the grab it, or search the beat online, if you want to take an aggressive fight here, there is nothing stopping you.
Indeed. The Has versus the what were we on before, Diva?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nicer in some ways. You get wall value, which is not terrible, but
yeah.
Again, it feels like a stopgap.
Yeah. They are ignoring Kebby, by the way. They are pretending like Kebby does not exist and chasing everybody else. And you're going to try to get the cap from behind, but Liko is just going to be there to be able to take care of business, and no cap comes through. So now, again, the Hazard going to stay on display right here, but that is the pick that comes through over there. So now, Kebby has pressure over on the point. It's become a more winnable situation, and now Farouk might have to consider using this P, just keep them going, but Pulse Bomb gonna finish off Death Killer, 65% on the board. But now you're looking at 4 ults ready for Blue.
That you are. So many tools. Again, the Earthshatter online once more. With the Hazard, you're mostly looking for somebody who gets split on rotations that you can punish. You can't actually interact with Death Killer until the fight really breaks down, so watch for that. Shattered through.
Ooh. Yeah, and Cabby just couldn't have done the thing there. Now they're going to kill everybody off. Only a couple more hanging around. D's might be able to stall, should they up to, but I think just too far removed from the point to do so. So we're going to see the quick recovery. You need to be able to get over to this point, but again, if you want to take an aggressive fight here, which you should if you're Blue, you're going to.
This really should be a bull angle a lot of the time. There's no real disruption, no break, no CC. Found a lot of value here, but Cabby not feeling it, or not having it in the hero pool whatsoever. Means that the Has is forced. 99 now found. It's going to be perfect, but their downpour is there.
Yep. Beat's available, though, so if that downpour hits, you're immediately going to see the response going into it. And there it goes. Downpour online, same time as the beat coming through as well. Separation, you want to keep kind of straggling over onto the point one at a time, trying to find a little something. You find something as well with Braven gone. No longer have to deal with that on-run, but Cabby is so far separated from the team thanks to that boot that things are going to be very tough to bring back, but still you see how many are low over on the side of Blue, and when you only have the Lucio heals, you are low on sustainability. A good Fire Strike to keep things alive momentarily, it's just not going to be enough.
It's pretty chaotic there, but at the end of the day, you're able to find enough in the chaos. I mean, generally, once those fights kind of have broken down, once the entirety of Blue Team isn't just stacked on Death Killer's like singular pixel anymore, you'll find it a little bit easier to work out for Kabi and Co, which is exactly what happens. Now though, good mark onto Leko. A touch going to be needed, but Tracer might not be the one finding it.
Yeah, Death Killer, yeah, you have to call with it. Completely separate. Now without your tank, this should realistically be a rundown here from Team Red to tie this thing up as everybody makes their way over to the point. Farouk and SE just going to be taken care of as, yeah, this one will tie up here. And while it is definitely messy, it is an improvement already for Red to do what they want to do. And now they're coming in with double support ultimates.
Indeed. And their opponents don't have that same luxury, right? They've got the ultimate from that honor on. They can charge into like a Coalescence as an example, but the firepower simply isn't there. I just go with Cole super early and force a response out your opponents.
Yeah, because that Vermilion Ascent is really good. Let's make no mistake. It can do a ton of damage early on in the situation, but they're not going to go with that early Coalescence. Has to get out almost immediately right here to try to keep themselves alive. Now, hang around the back line is going to be able to fade out once more. Again, somehow alive as Pulse Bomb I thought I missed for a moment, but Deez gets caught with it, so now the door opens back up right here as you're trying to move in with your own Coalescence as well. Beat comes out just barely right there as Vermilion Ascent activated. You're going to see the catch over onto one, and it looks like that could potentially be enough to pull this fight back around. Braven a little lucky to be alive right here, but no luck about it as Deathkiller gets the double kill with the Fire Strike as they cap the point.
I assume maybe a slightly myth ult track coming through from Red Team here. The position they were in, their best play was absolutely to try and, go aggressive with the Coalition. They kind of did too, but they had to extend with the sound barrier afterwards. Otherwise, their opponents were going to charge into all their ultimates and just start pressing Q, which is exactly what we saw. They had more in the long fight. They won in the long fight. Now they got first control here, and with a Ryan, that is not what you ever want to be giving over.
Yeah, never at the end of the day. And again, you have the pin scabbing in midair, by the way. Love to see it in 2026 as downpour thrown in. Somehow catches on the deck who kind of walks into it. B has to be used to keep them alive as Cabby eventually going to be taken care of. And now the aggression coming through. Perfect pin over on to Center. And that should, you feel like, end things. But with Deathkiller going down, this opens up the door for a quick re-engagement.
Indeed. But do you have the positioning for it yourself is kind of the question. Team 1 can back up. Can play the back to point, keep tickling it, using their arm run, using their Moira, using their Tracer. The Ryan has got a timer here, and the window for Red Team quickly closing.
Yeah, and you don't have any ultimates anywhere close right now. No one's... It'll be with people getting close and you're closer, but that's Blue Team that really has them as... You get a flip that comes through here. Unfortunately, I think you're too far separated. Pulse bomb thrown out. It doesn't catch on to anybody, as you need to keep Cabby alive more than anything else as you go for the pin. Going to get pooped away, unfortunately. But Cabby is so far separated and being thrown to everything. And while you have the beat available now, I don't think this is going to be worth using. It feels like you would take a reset here eventually if things did not go your way. But instead, we're going to see the beat come down for the Ether as Deez gets solo shattered on the spot. Deathkiller does not want to mess around with this one. They want to end this point right here. But they're so willing to keep throwing ults into this fight that feels like a losing effort. They are trying their darndest to keep themselves in this Spectron as body after body flies over onto the point with Cabby coming back into this red. Does not want to give this up without a fight, but with the Coalescence now in their face, it becomes more and more difficult to pull back. The Vermilion Ascent thrown as well, as eventually Blue should be able to pull this one away, but Team Red made it as hard as humanly possible.
Normally I would be really against investing ults in down scenarios, but if it does force out the Vermilion Ascent and the Coalescence, it's not the end of the world. Still, probably would have been easier just to go into that next fight with your beat, with your Cole, and just see what you can find. So lead now for Team Blue. See how long they can keep it for, as both teams now feeling a little bit worse, or whereas a little bit more exhausted after that point. That was absolute pandemonium.
Yeah, that was a whole minute of absolute chaos, and Cabby gives up on the Hazard now over on the Ramatra for this one. And again, you have Avalanche who's going to come over here with the Overclock as well, who's been really good on the Sojourn so far throughout the day. Has some quiet points, but I think overall has been strong. We'll see what that gives to this point right here, as it's their only ultimate. It's got to find something early on, and Avalanche gets one beat going to be expended. Avalanche so incredibly low, going to be forced out of the point right here, but still, having Cabby alive is the most important thing, as Avalanche picks up their second of the fight. Deathkiller has a shatter, has already gotten rid of two, is going to catch onto Avalanche, and then is going to, in fact, help pick everybody else off. Cap going to come through here momentarily as Deathkiller, I believe, got 4 that fight.
Yeah, well played from Deathkiller once again. That fight was almost really awkward. Essie gets picked first, just wide swings into an overclock, really what you want to see from your Moira. But thankfully, Deathkiller's a powerful individual, as we've been finding out on this Reinhardt, right? And so, again, first control here, about 30 or 70% rather, of the way away towards them winning out Atlas. Of course, for 5 no matter what happens. Farouk forces from low. Good pre-fight.
Yeah, and you're to see Deez eventually, or I say immediately, get value from this far, as they'll be able to finish this fight around. A little bit more stall comes through from Braven, but eventually goes through, get up to 61%. So not bad, as Deathkiller now over on the Winston, and I guess they're just gonna. I don't know how I feel about this one, Spec.
We're inventing new comps, put it that way. Winston is nice because there's nothing that Overlock can really do if you get jumped on, especially if you're able to 2-cycle them. No. It's so weird though.
It is a little bit, but I mean, you see like the coalescence invested right here, which again, it's gonna keep burning time away right here, and you don't hate at the end of the day. But now SC is gonna have theirs online, and you have the beat to be able to stop it, but you don't want to have to use it for a coalescence. You would love to hold on to it for something else, but you might not have a choice here soon, as Adiz ends up going down as a result. You're trying to go with the investment, try to find something, as Frug eventually gonna be burnt down here. But Deathkiller is just running down body after body, as Tabby is got to make a very uncomfortable choice here soon of whether or not to invest here. And with that, point's going to flip over. You just need to get everybody out alive.
Yeah, I mean, you need to get a touch, right? But that's not going to happen. Lecco again opening up on the Tracer. One of the players that feels like we've been saying their name of more often than not in these first couple of maps. And I'm impressed with what we're seeing, at least from this hero. Again, looking for a touch. Someone's going to find it. Annihilation, they will allow it, but how long is it going to last for?
I don't know. You just have to try to live. You're going to be able to live for the time being, but now you have Raven, who is going to have this high noon ready to go. And this Deadeye could be enough to shut things down, as it's going to create a little bit of space. Everybody thrown back. Everyone has to hide away as Liko gets rid of 2 of their own. And this one's going to be done and dusted. Ermac, last one alive. We'd love to get one more retouch, but we'll just barely knock back with the point. But we'll head over to the 5th one to finish this one out, as I think Deathkiller was not aware. It lacked some critical information.
Scrim codes. Styles let everyone know what's what. It happens, man. We've all been there before, but unfortunately, we have invented a 0 value primal rage here. And now he's going to puzzle that back. Unlucky.
Oh god. Hey, but it has come. We have a swap that has come through though for this 5th and final one. The Illari comes out here for Ermac, who's been pretty consistently over on this Moira throughout this map. We'll see how well it works. Again, it's completely counter in terms of the style they have been running, as everyone gonna be forced back. As Deathkiller gets rid of another, will give their life for it, but this should allow Blue to take the point without further issue.
Yeah, I don't think this Illari is fantastic. Okay,
never mind.
We're missing every shot.
Yep, and
it's chill.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
But yeah, it's just awkward position. I think glad to see Ermac off the Illari. It doesn't do anything. You can't heal your team through it. And the map is much easier here, even with the D.Va. Deathkiller obviously going to see that as a target. And so a lot of pressure on Adiz now to be able to mark out Lecco in that angle. Make it so if Deathkiller is diving, going on their own lonesome.
Yeah, 100%. And Lecco obviously been pretty consistent so far. Gonna have that pulse bomb available. You would love to connect on to Avalanche here and shut down this overclock, but instead you're gonna see investment from SC early on with the coalescence. Gonna force everybody back and bring this to 1-fight territory. I mean, it honestly kind of already was, but Raven is nasty. Oh my god.
That's a clean shot. It is. Got sat down. 65, almost 70%. And again, we need to see a touch. Manifest, the Tracer being the last respawn that makes that much harder. Trying to force that higher ground, but they're going to get brawled out by the Moira. An unfortunate scenario to be in, like any stretch of the imagination, but forced out is definitely love our primal rage about now.
Yep, and Beat's going to be thrown out here to make that a little bit of space here. It doesn't end up accomplishing anything though.
White peak?
Yeah, that is a really unfortunate peak right there, and that might be enough to sell this thing right there. But Deathkiller is having to hide because they are sitting around 1 HP. Everyone's going to hide away under 99% as the cap goes through, and Deathkiller got, again, to 5 health. Somehow isn't dead yet. The beat is expended. They're going to try to end this here and now, but with Ermac hanging around, unfortunately, that is not going to happen. Southern Fox does get one with the boop, and the aggression is there, but it's just not going to be enough.
I don't hate the idea to beat engage and just kind of see what happens. You don't have ults you really need to beat engage. Obviously, you'd prefer it if you could beat the claw, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. And there's a decent chance they just don't use window there and get heavily punished. Obviously, that time they do. You go 1-for-1 on the ult trade. It's kind of okay. But obviously now you are in a bit of a disadvantage. Down 1 check mark.
Yeah, 100%. But a chance to finish off strong here for Team Red, as Avalanche gonna go through early, gonna try to find somebody, but everyone kind of just gets away from this display. Lots of people getting caught initially, but Deathkiller now with the more than 0 progress over on the Primal Rage. But again, Avalanche gonna shut down Lecco, opens up the door to try to end this one, almost gets spooked off, lucky to still be alive, but with everybody so low, Resets coming through as Cabby is going to get the kill over onto Essie, and that should close this one out as Red will finish strong, but still loses 3-2. But again, it's them willing to try a lot of different things. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but
Indeed.
it ends up getting a little more, I feel like, I don't know how you feel about it, but it felt even to some extent, but it felt like when it was going in Blue's favor, it was really going in Blue's favor.
Yeah, I think it's kind of partially Ryan, just as a hero, but I do also just agree in general that when they had their moments, they were winning these fights so dominantly, especially these shatter fights. Obviously, they work out so well in your favor. It feels like a lot of the success Red Team was able to find was off the back of like chaos fights, of really weird setups, of these things going super long. Eventually, you win it out in like 2 people left standing, so it was a bit more awkward, but it gets them 2 points. It gets them that final. I don't think they're mad about how they performed here whatsoever, but equally, it was pretty creative at times. Staub's in, actually, currently. That's going to be replacing Deathkiller, a player who I've seen a little bit. I feel like more in Twitch chats than in the lobby, but still. Interesting to see how he performs now. A change up from the Ryan gameplay we've just seen.
Yeah, and obviously it feels like it might be needed as we have Gibraltar set as our next map by the looks of it, which maybe perhaps one of the maps that is the polar opposite of Flashpoint. And keep in mind, this is also broken Gibraltar as well, the newer one that came through with the Season 1 patch. So it doesn't play all that differently, but there are a couple of different nooks and crannies that can make some difference, but this is still a dive map through and through. Let's make that very apparent in a situation like this. But I mean, we're getting ready to head into this 4th map right here. In fact, we've gotten to see quite a bit already. Just in your opinion, your obviously very humble opinion, I mean, who have been kind of some of the standouts for you thus far?
I think I mentioned before, I'll say it again. I think Lecco on the Tracer was playing pretty effectively. Adiz, obviously, on the Detta was having absolutely crazy hype moments. I think of the 2 hit scans, I preferred Avalok, but both have had some moments. Obviously, Staub's a fresh one. I think in terms of the backliners, the ones who I'm enjoying the most have been Farouk and Ermac, just not feeding too much, playing standard heroes effectively. That's kind of the people who I'm looking at most. I mean, everyone's playing well enough, you know, but those are the people who I think are just playing that level above.
Yeah, I go on that one right there. Again, I think you've had a level of consistency from someone like Avalanche so far. Again, I have really only seen them primarily on the Sojourn, but still, Sojourn is one of those characters that feels like, while sometimes they drop for the meta, they are never a bad character to pick. So it's really good value to have in a situation like that. I think Farouk has had a level of consistency as well throughout this series. We've been able to see them on quite a couple of different characters, and it's had a really good level of consistency. Obviously, it hasn't been perfect, but I don't think anybody so far would be deemed to be perfect in this display like this. But I'm excited as we're switching back to, I was going to say some level of die, but currently we have the Domina and the Junker Queen on display, so we'll see if that sticks. I would have expected to see potentially the Winston and Diva come back, because we did see them both in previous affairs.
Yeah, I mean, Diva, I think maybe a bit more than Winston. I just don't think he's a crazy powerful hero at the moment, and with a lot of comps kind of seeming to favor extended shooting. I would expect more Diva. I think Tracer here is still a necessity, to be honest. Forcing the objective is still so huge on this point. Anna Brig is still playable. I would expect to see that most of the time, but I think Lucio Kiri has brought a little bit more into par with the changes, but it's a little bit easier to access high grounds. They're not as immutable as they maybe previously were. But for hit scan, it's still kind of the same. We don't really expect to see Cass. Everybody else, fair game. Open season, in fact.
Open season indeed. Love to see it. One thing we are seeing though that we haven't, I don't think, seen throughout the day right now, maybe I'm gaslighting myself, but the Embrace is currently on display. Obviously, nothing locked in. It's a scrim code. Anybody can be back and spawn in a heartbeat, but we'll see. One thing I'm curious to see is these over on the Symmetra. Sometimes you do see the strats of just straight up TPing a brawl comp onto top and kind of just forcing a fight up top and trying to clear everybody out, which honestly, we'll see how well that works. It's either a result where, hey, it works beautifully, this is lovely, or why did we try this in the first place? It's not much of an in-between.
We're coming up with some pretty interesting looks here. Staub starting on the Queen. I get that's his hero, but like, we are on Jib. Obviously, you see the Diva ban the other side of things, so Kabi is matching the ground tank matchup. We have the Symmetra, which does make it easier, but this is quite something already.
Yeah, it'll be curious because obviously they have to jump the gap still, which is a small gap, you know, fair enough. But, you know, we've seen people drop on the gap before, but they're going to keep moving forward, try to take the fight up here. And to be fair, the more pressure that's taken up here, the further they can kind of push this cart forward. But we'll see what comes to form right here as Lecco is indeed in on the M-Ray after having to get off the Tracer from before, as can be bringing back out that Domina that we've seen him previously way back on Lijiang.
Indeed. Oh, tickles the toes of one, backs out. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So the Fox Bus is dead. This is so weird.
Yeah, that is a little rough to lose this early on. Adiz, again, lucky to be alive right here as Cabby has to walk into a Queen, which honestly, Queen is one of those characters where has a lot of sustainability. Unfortunately, when you get ganged up on, it just not a whole lot you can do in that situation. Cabby is low, but is still hanging around there. Adiz, again, lucky to be alive as finally that cart's making a little bit of progress.
Indeed. Obviously, defenders have to set up somewhere, but because Lecco has no mobility on the M-Ray, he's just walking around on the low ground, hoping that finally you get to a good position. Instead, just kind of in a field and not doing that much.
Yeah, Nano used on Braven, and Nano already good to go. That is incredible, as Avalanche will go down as Braven trying to find some bodies, finds all the bodies as a matter of fact. Maybe not wanting that, but eventually they should be able to finish off everybody in this room as, yeah, Armac just eventually can be finished off right here. He is fighting back, does pick up the kill over onto Braven, but that is still going to have that one settled.
Indeed. I think, I don't know. I've not been impressed by Lecco on the M-Ray so far. I don't think it's even a Lecco problem particularly. I just think the hero like doesn't do anything. I haven't seen anything that the hero's done that couldn't be accomplished better or more effectively by a Soj, by an Ashe, by a Freya. Maybe something is yet to change, but 2 minutes into the defense, and maybe I'm going to make that change there for Team 1.
Yeah, we will see, because none of these teams are running anything that you would consider traditional for you know, dive, for Gibraltar. There's elements in there, obviously, with things like the Genjis and the Diana Brig, but it's a little bit more difficult to take these high grounds and assert yourself so quickly when you have a Domina and a Jungle Queen. That's just how things are, but that's a good boop right there. Farouk is taking off the high ground as that Phenomenon does manage to catch over onto one. Raven, though, is going to survive through it all, and now Stubbs does have the ability to let this rampage through, and honestly, isn't really gonna need it either, as all this points making slow progress. It feels like nothing's truly happening.
I don't think it is, to be honest. I think the lack of traces especially make that really apparent, that you're not really in a position for anything to happen. Echo is able to reposition the high ground, sure, with some nades, but down to a minute left to go. I don't think either side has really made a move. We're kind of just waiting around for people to overpeak and die.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But you have a heavy ult fight coming up here, and with the 45 seconds, this should be a pretty heavy engagement for both teams overall. You have the Nano Blade available if you are at D's, but you're going to see Southern Fox and Avalanche get caught with the Rampage right here. You're going to trade out in this entrance right here, but Raven has already gotten rid of two. Eventually going to be cut down by Cabby, but this is the best chance that you've had as Red Team to try to break through here and find something. But without your supports, you can't really do much, can you?
Nope, you're 3v3 after all those buttons have been pressed. The time bank's getting lower, the spawns are about even. Yeah, the cat's going to help with getting one person back faster, but what are you supposed to do with that?
Oh, we'll see how much it's going to get. Again, you have SE, the only ultimate online right here. Liko is going to get ran down as someone does have to go and touch the cart. That they 100% will, as stops hanging around. Eventually, that Nano going to run dry right here, but you have Raven come back into the fight with the Cassidy. Going to try to go over and take the high ground. You still have Souther over on the cat to try to find a little something here. And in fact, Farouk is separated right now. Eventually going to be taken down. This opens up the door as it's just going to take you out the back line single-handedly, by the way, as they're going to take away this first point. It takes the overtime, but the cat, somehow, some way, Fico works out.
Fika does have very high damage. People are kind of learning this now, but you can use the speed combined with your melee perk especially to just absolutely obliterate people. That's exactly what you see, getting the early kill on Liko and able to snowball that into the cap. But is that repeatable? That's got to be the question, right?
I mean, yeah, obviously, and you see, so they're trying to give a ride to Adiz, and Adiz wants nothing to do with that. But we'll see, because obviously with the multiple changes, we'll see how it goes. The Panopticon does come through for Cabby, doesn't get a whole lot off of it, as Rally thrown in, immediately going to get off the high ground. This is probably the extent they're going to push for the time being, as Cabby going to get hit with the sleep, eventually going to be taken out, while Essie does go down. There'll be plenty of time to get back into this next one, as Adiz, unfortunately, is going to have to take the late death.
Indeed. It never feels good to do it, but at the end of the day, when you're attacking, it's less bad than when you're doing it on the defense, right? You're not giving up an additional payload push. Stabs close to a rampage, make any fight on the same plane as them incredibly risky. And with Lecco having that overload as well, open space is also a threat. And so you're in a weird position here where you kind of need to just shoot somebody. Otherwise, you're going to feel very unfortunate about how this fight's going to go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, oh, nice sleep right there to stop the things momentarily, but two people are going to be caught out. I don't think Cleanse is available right now because Avalanche goes down, and you still have Southern trying to run around and try to find somebody over on the Cat, but it's going to cost a little bit of stabilization. 50 seconds left on the clock. Unfortunately, Ermac going down means you're just down to the Cat for healing, and unfortunately, that's just not going to be enough in a situation like this. At least you would think it wouldn't be.
You'd hope so, but crazier things than that have happened. Stalb still trying to take care of Cabby in that side room. Support peel could materialize, but we're fighting more.
Oh, no. Yeah, and Lecco's coming in right now. Doesn't find anything with the override protocol, as you're going to see Stalb just has to get out of there. Trying to stay alive. Shout going to come through to be able to keep them alive momentarily. Is that card going to make progress? But you again see the Panopticon be used here to try to find something so incredibly low. Will be bursted down, and now it's all about trying to get the touch, and it's going to be down to the Cat to help out.
Yeah, Cat here again in overtime. Axe missing. I mean, Stabs does kind of miss his entire cycle, but overtime's been started, and where are you actually going to get dragged by Pika here? Nowhere.
Yeah, it's not nothing. Yeah, that's rough right there. The blade is ready. Does not matter though, as they'll get stopped. I mean, not even much like halfway through the second point at the end of the day, and it's really interesting watching that round go down, because it feels like there really is like a lack of almost anything going on, because the fact that these teams are not running traditional dive.
No tracer, like
legit no dive, no tracer. These fights are going to take forever to set up. Which, to be fair, if you're the defender, you're like, take your time. Go ahead. Spend 30 seconds doing a rotation just to take one fight. Be my guest. Drain your own clock.
Again, like, I get it. We put Stabs in on the higher ground map, but like, and we banned D.Va as well. In fact,
yeah.
However, can we get like a Winston? Can we get like a Hazard? We've seen Hazard from Kali before. That would work. Yeah, we've seen both these teams play Tracer. I don't know. This feels like a rank strat, and it doesn't feel like a fantastic rank strat.
Yeah, like I said from the very beginning, we were going to see a lot of different things here today, but remember that outside of the bans, these teams do have full freedom as to what they're running. Let's make that very apparent right now. But we'll see how things go as we're ready to get this started, as Team Blue on their own attack are going to try the same TP across.
I don't mind it. I mean, you catch somebody out or you don't. You need a way to safely rotate your backline. It's chill. Again, I still think this Emre is not impressing me as a hero choice. I just don't think it's good.
Yeah, it's a strange hero right now that I don't think you can get a ton of inherent value off. I think the ultimate's really good, but outside of that, I don't think there's a ton to look forward to. But we'll see, obviously, as Lecco is going to be the one pushing the point right now. So while the fight is going on up top and they are losing out on it, they are getting a considerable amount of progress to get things started, as Stalb's going to be able to get out alive, as eventually the progress, by the way, is still continuing. We're at 50 meters right now.
Indeed. I mean, that's the point of your flex DPS, to keep forcing points. Exactly what Braven is doing. Nobody can really mark because you're playing double hit scan, so you have to drop, like, your tank to mark, or just hope that the Genji can't walk into open space, which, using the flex, he absolutely can.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we want every time, is to keep that pressure on the card, because it forces someone to have to drop off the high ground. If you're a Genji, you can get up immediately. If you're a Dominant and you drop, you're screwed. You have to do the long rotation, so you have to, like, manage who goes where. But Braven is down early, so it's going to stop momentum a little bit. As you see Stalb's drop momentarily, they're going to take this fight down towards the point, get a bit of progress there, and it forces the Dominant to drop off of the high ground.
Yeah, so a high ground take, in theory, much more simple now. The Stalps has to get there to boot, so both tanks going the long way around at the moment. Braven tries to establish.
Yeah, Raven getting out of there alive, though. You see a nice sleep over onto D's to kind of stem things for at least a moment here, forces the high ground away. And now Team Blue has full control of the high ground, but they need the ultimates to be able to kind of finish things out because you have 3 available, including double supports being Team Red here. And you can see Ermac play this pretty defensively as well to kind of create some place for them should you see aggression. But for the moment, you're hoping to get something going, and honestly, you might have to give this nano to someone like Braven or Stubbs anyway to push forward. Oh my god.
So many buttons being pressed. Beat, Window, Panopticon, Nano Boost, Farouk and Leko the first of all, and so it seems like investing, in fact, 4 check marks from the red team does in fact find them a hold. But minute 30 left to go. Now they've still got to defend for another 2 fights or so.
Oh yeah, that is a fight and a half right there. So much being used, but now if you're Team Red, I mean, you're saying now there's a chance. There's a chance of full holding this one. But again, you get a lot of value with the from Leko with that with the override protocol. Like it is really strong. Hey, we're gonna see how strong it is right now. But Cabby is already down. It's going to force everybody off of this high ground, and even just helping get rid of Cabby is the biggest thing. And now you're going to double down, getting rid of everybody. Here is a decent Cabby. Going to try to get back and force a touch, but this is going to be a really tough touch for either of them, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely a 3-cart kind of position. You don't really have a lot of forward space. Where is your Brig? Where is Farouk?
Good question. Where is Farouk at? Farouk is hiding. Oh, he's waiting
to bash the door.
I mean, I would say I don't hate it, but we'll see how much we end up hating it here in a second as Braven goes in, manages to get one with the blade, gets another one now, and now you have Cabby hanging around. A D's with him as well, same as we started this whole thing, but eventually both of them should be burnt down as Blue's going to be able to push past this, and now, with these late deaths coming through, a little bit of tactical crouching for good measure. It's a one-fight territory here for Blue, at least for in terms of quote-unquote winning the map.
That it is, if you do want to win the map, of course, I mean, as you have reminded us, again, scrim code, so the cart will continue moving.
Yes.
If we do get past the golden book to victory. Some teams, if they're fully scrimming, will just let it roll past. Some teams may be able to fight for a bit more, depends how much they want to win these trials.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see as much as you possibly can right now. You're going to see they're kind of going to stop it momentarily. They need to catch it on to Stobbs, who eventually gets taken care of with a little help from that Panopticon. But still, you're holding on because you're still going to hold on to this point right here and not let them cap. Because in a real scenario, obviously, you can't let them. That'd be game over right there, as they're going to be able to hold on to this one. Farouk over on the point, tries to get rid of one, does get rid of Cabby with a little bit of help. But again, bleeding is going to get stemmed.
Indeed, and they have been able to find the hold before we get past that golden box of victory, right? And so, meter 23, currently the difference. See how long that lasts for is Stalbs getting closer to another Rampage, Essie close to another Nano, and unfortunately not the same amount of firepower on the other side. Playing off your support ults is Team Red.
100%. You're building up to that beat as well. It's going to be available here, but now you have the Nano to deal with. You can throw that back on Brave, or maybe if you rush this high ground, give it to Stalbs. Just take the aggression up to the nth degree, and to be fair, that's becoming a very real story right now, as they're set up on the high ground, as Stalbs is walking forward, trying to find something with that Jagged Blade. Not really, but you see, there's like 3 different fights happening in 3 different places. They're going a bunch of different ways right now. Stalbs eventually has to drop over on the cart. He's going to try to pressure it away. Unfortunately, it's just so far separated. Eventually going to be taken down the Nano thrower onto Leko to push them forward. They're trying to finish things off right here, as you're eventually going to see the investment here of the Override Protocol. Ermac is going to be forced back here. Avalanche is going to eventually be able to get the touch, but it's all going to be a formality from here, as the point will be capped over, but still the map continues.
That it shall. It got pretty... Yeah, I mean, it was goofy. There's no better way of describing it. As you mentioned, 3 different fights in 3 different places here. Recontest should be good. A lot of damage eaten so far, but you should be able to get on the objective, at least.
Yeah, and remember, you can't tell how close that is, but you know this is like a quarter of a meter from being capped over, as it's immediately going to go through here with 2 minutes over on the clock. Big finish as the team kill comes through, and with 2 minutes on the clock, this is very finishable for them.
I didn't think about that, actually. You see Leko pulling out the pistol with the perk that refunds energy or heat for every direct you connect. On the choke, where you splash onto like 5 people, you can just spam it indefinitely. He's got 50% of his ultimate basically off just that one little pistol spam, so that's kind of powerful, actually. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's really nice to have something like that. Some of these perks are definitely really strong right now. As Stubbs going to go through, catches onto 4. Cleanser's not going to get over to Cabby, though, as Braven's going to try to do a little bit with the cleanup squad. Won't be able to do a whole lot, though. But now you're in one-fight territory. Unfortunately, you have nothing. But to be fair, Red's in the same position.
Indeed. I mean, Lecco can't even figure out where to play to safely. Bouncing around with a pistol, but it will soon expire. An engage will come through. Downpour, powerful. Lecco surely can't.
Yeah, and eventually, yeah, it's just the one person that's really caught and separated as Avalanche gonna keep moving forward. Has already gotten rid of 2. Instead, they're more than happy to help finish him off. And now 50 seconds left on the board right here. Lecco's gonna have the override protocol in overclock ability for Avalanche again, who, again, has been getting great value from it.
Indeed. It's a powerful tool in the right hands. Curious to see here if you are Team 1, exactly how slow you play it. You can maybe instant damage onto Stalbers, try and finish off a nano for this overdrive protocol. If not, you could just send it and hope you find something. But at 25% to go, it is a pretty marginal decision in my opinion.
Yeah, you kind of just have to let these things run loose. That's just your situation at the end of the day. But Lecco's gonna go down early again. Avalanche gonna let loose, everyone forced into the corner, and you're gonna try to get Farouk out alive. It's just not going to happen. It is now a bum rush to get to the point as Braven's behind, by the way. Braven's behind, and no one knows yet.
Indeed. Surely that's gonna be a touch, right? I mean, that's what a lot of this was going to be for. Able to escape at 23 points of HP. He can get one more, but he's gonna have to sell his soul for it. His life as well. Styles back on the Wrecking Ball. You'll be able to contest with the Overdrive Protocol, surely, as long as Lecco can survive the onslaught from the enemy tank.
Yeah, and unfortunately, beat ready in time for it as well. And you're going to find some level of value right here. Get rid of one, nano thrown in, but going to get into that free throw momentarily as Lecco only has so much more to offer. Their team falling apart around them. The freeze will end this one right there. But again, it's a good job to stop them right then and there. But at the end of the day, again, it's a great display here from Team Blue for having what almost was a full hold, to be honest. It was kind of neck and neck at the end right there.
Yeah.
I mean, this map is kind of a fever dream for me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This was a very chaotic map.
I think they were having some fun, I'll put it that way. Wow. Emre, Queen, I mean, Domino in general, really. Not really heroes I expected to see here, but we made it work, in as much as I suppose you could describe that as working. I think we are seeing the power of the Overdrive Protocol, though. I'm not always a big fan of Emre, but when the ult's online, it is finding a decent amount, and so maybe if you are just playing around the ult value, it has something to be said at the very least. Moving towards Bruno Sappi, this is much more these team speeds.
Yeah, this is probably where we're gonna go back to. Well, it's hard to say go back to. We very well might just have the Dominant and the Queen again anyway, like, quite honestly. We'll see, as I imagine we're still gonna have either some kind of bans or some kind of comps in place here momentarily. It might just be comps. Honestly, I'm fine with that. Again, seeing the mirror is very interesting to see how both teams, or more specifically all these players, kind of handle that. But we'll see momentarily, because this is something that we kind of got to see a little bit during the boot camp. Remember, the first map was always, hey, you have to play the 5 new heroes. You got to do this, or you can only ban specific things. Like, you couldn't ban the new heroes, for that matter. But either way, Spec, we'll see momentarily as Red, again, has the first ban.
Indeed. No specific comps again, so we're figuring it out as we go along.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I mean, I'm curious. I mean, Styles is obviously in Spawn messing around. He's been on Ram. He's been on Winston. Tracer Soldier is entirely standard. Sim is playable sometimes. Braven decides to ban the Tracer. I mean, does hurt Lecco.
Yeah.
What do we do out the other side then?
Yeah, but Lecco, I think on a map like this, it's gonna be a little bit easier for Lecco to find an alternative that'll work really well. Yeah, because obviously it's even Lecco's sad about it. Honestly, can't blame you.
Like, it's annoying, but I don't think it's like game breaking. You know,
no,
it's not like if you ban Tracer and Gibraltar, we'd see something like that again. Raven bans Queen. Okay, never mind. I think he realized he's already done that, if I'm not much mistaken.
Yeah. we've been down this road before. Final. What is the ban? We'll see in a moment here what it's gonna be. But it's been well, Lecco was so sad that the Tracer got banned that they have now been deleted.
Tracer ban him hat. I get it. That's what I do in my rank games.
Oh, that's beautiful. We'll see what's up with that here in a second. But this has been really entertaining so far, because obviously it's one thing if we sat in here and watch a Trout where it's like, hey, we just watched 5 maps straight of Zarya Vendetta, GG Nori. But we've been able to see, feels like, everything under the moon, whether it's been incredibly effective, whether it's been straight up chaotic. It's important to see what everybody can do.
Yeah. I mean, multiple different comps that we're seeing all the time, multiple different scenarios does test your ability to adapt. How to be okay? We messed up another ban
because they double banned Soj.
Yeah, guys, we're better than this. Please, we're trying to show off how good you are. Okay, can we lock in? Can we lock in? Oh, it is egregious.
That is too funny. I love it. But hopefully we get everybody back in here. We can get these bans settled away. We know the Tracer is fine. Soj ban, you guys ban now. Okay, so they've gone back because Team Red, I think, didn't they already ban Lecco's Tracer on the last map? Isn't that what happened?
Maybe.
I feel like because the Tracer was definitely banned last map. 100% it was.
Was it?
Yeah, because remember, Lecco couldn't play the. Remember, it was the Diva Tracer.
Yeah.
And all right,
okay,
Lucio,
we banned Soj and Lucio.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. So, with that Lucio gone, what do you think happens in comparison? Because what I've seen a lot is teams sometimes gravitate towards the Juno to kind of keep fast comps going to a degree. The Orbital Ray still has a lot of inherent value, and especially if you're on Stalbs, maybe you prefer it, but I don't know. What is your general opinion about, hey, Lucio's banned. How do we respond if we still want to play fast?
People just play like more heavily around the angles with Wu Yang basically all the time now. Wu Yang Kiriko is considered the standard response for a Lucio ban. Juno, it just isn't that good right now. Brink's not that good either, so we kind of struggle with the individual hero value. Juno will get side fought. If you try to play into like a Tracer, you're just going to explode, and that's no longer banned, right? So
yeah.
That is basically what we're seeing, at least from the red team. Blue team, Farouk is trying the cat. Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, try the cat, I guess. You never know what's going to happen. But we have our Tracer battle back with Lecco and Adiz. We'll see what goes down on that display. Braving back over on the Cassidy. We saw that a little while back as the 1v1 has been decided very quickly here to get Red started. Still, Stalbs has a lot of survivability. Farouk to be able to get people out should they desire. So there is a lot of survivability for this team.
Indeed. They just back out as far as they can, knowing that continuing to fight, they're going to really quite struggle. Curious to see what cat setups we actually end up going for here with Farouk. What is this?
There's some chaos. They're kind of attacking the backline a little bit here. It's causing everybody to separate a little bit. That card is still making progress, though, because you just have Adiz sitting on it right now, and eventually Lecco has to go and take the 1v1 and try to force them away right here. Stubbs would love to get somebody. Unfortunately, there has been one death so far in a minute 15.
We're flanking with Cassidy. We're diving with Cassidy. This is a real sentence. Like, what?
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't work out. They find the pick right there, but Adiz again going to find a pick of their own onto Essie. But still, Cabby's just trying to stay alive, keep this fight going as you're trying to get everybody try to sustain as Avalanche is going to have the Deadeye available as the first ult.
Indeed. And with the cat, I'm assuming that's exactly how we're going to invest it. That being said, with the Matrix, we'll have to wait and see how much value it actually ends up finding. Obviously, Lecco, as you mentioned, now cut. Cabby, low HP though. How long can he stay for?
Not long enough is the question, or the answer, I suppose. Pulse bomb thrown out there, and Stalbs just has to accept the fate at the end of the day. That is a good pick, and if Essie can get out alive, and actually does, that is pretty important.
Indeed. Farouk, at least able to make it out alive. You've got on top of Deadeye, you've got the Rampage. You've almost got Kitsu in air rush. Your opponents have a bomb, sure. They can match the Kitsu, but you're kind of happy matching Kitsu basically any time. And again, we're looking for another play.
No, but look, they're up top. They're going to do the Deadeye from up top. And they get nothing off of it, but I love
early.
it. It is way too early, but you see the separation. Cabby's going to be taken out, has to use the bomb here, is not going to get a whole lot, but is able to remech. That's the important part. Consider Rush can be thrown in right now, and Stubbs still has an ability to fight back. He's going to pull in Braven, and about 61 meters should be the extent for now. At least you would think, as Cabby will reset, and I think Farouk, took them off the, took them off the edge.
It's a long day, man.
Spec is losing it right now.
Bro, you're supposed to stay on the map when you trade for enemy tank. The necessary stage of the plan, unfortunately, doesn't quite work out. But Lord of mercy, because of that, I mean, your cat is back fast.
I mean, yeah, that's the inherent value you get out of the cat sometimes. Again, you're looking at maybe doing something here. You don't really have anything to pair up with the cat, as you're going to try to pull somebody up. Farouk just so incredibly low, and at this point, it should probably just go take the reset, as Lecco and Stubbs going to try to do the exact same thing and try to get something here, just will not, as the team wipe comes through. No forward spawns available for either team.
Indeed. Back to a reset, more or less. As you mentioned, the forward spawns just yet, but they may well come through if the blue side can't make this defense work. Again, this is your Rampage fight. You should just win off Rampage, in theory. But I think Styles has been somewhat struggling to find as much value as he has on previous points here. Maybe it's the cat, maybe it's just a queen thing on Runasapi, but I've got my own theories.
Yeah, to be fair, everyone is playing very separated, to where you're not making it easy for the queen to kind of force a brawl fight or really isolate a whole lot of people, honestly. Like, Braven's like the one example of someone that can be caught out in a lot of situations, but right now, you see them trying to do long rotations to find something. Yeah, that's a beautiful night. The problem is that card has been, or that bot, I should say, has been moving forward this entire time. It's at 90 meters already. And the further that goes forward, the harder it's going to be to take this one back, because they are literally just kind of having to let it push.
It's so split. Styles can't find a target to go on.
Yeah, trying to. Needs to stay alive really badly right here. Has the shout ready still, as Pulse Bomb is thrown out. You take a little bit of a trade, which you don't hate, but that's definitely a trade you hate at the end of the day. You're forced into a little cuppy, as Stubbs is going to let it loose. Gets two with it. Ermac is low, is barely up on the high ground. Barely able to stay alive.
It looks like we're playing Queen like we try and play Ball, and
yes,
it's not Ball, so it doesn't really work. Like, obviously, once the map shrinks enough that you don't have to worry about it, like angles anymore, you go back to winning. But in any sort of slightly wide space, you do just kind of do air. You're very lucky that you have teams providing you kills like this. Farouk dying, though, is tricky.
Yeah, it's a little rough to deal with right here. And, you know, you're hoping to get this thing back to the middle, take away those forward spawns, but Cabby's there with the bomb, with the Consider Rush. There's no reason why it should be taken over here, as Braven is in the back line. He somehow gets the trade-off, by the way. Crazy that even happens, and now you want to invest here with the Consider Rush, you can. SC doesn't have theirs online quite yet, so if you want to be able to take this back and continue this lead, you could, and that's what's going to happen right here, as they force them back a little further. You still have Lecco hanging around, does have a Pulse Bomb on display, as you almost catch out of D's here, as bombs thrown out into the ether. SC more than happy to go and give in with the response to the Consider Rush going to be thrown out here. Avalanche going to try to get in with a Deadeye available, as Cabby knocked out of mech right here. Avalanche just goes too far back and walks into it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. False finds nothing. Styles still alive. Brave and Deadeye is for all the 10 damage, but a 3-piece appears out of nowhere. 6 shooter clean with it today, and more may be available.
Woo!
Of course, gonna find it, and melee onto Lecco. All he needed, the card continues to move forward. Team Braven. Like I said, I thought it'd been relatively quiet today, but it feels like on Cassidy has absolutely lit this server alive.
They 100% heard you. Let's keep it a buck. They heard that Spectrion talking like, yeah, nah, I can't let this slide. But speaking of not letting things slide, Blue doesn't want to have to let this slide right now, as you're in one fight territory to finish this map off right here. And I mean, you have good ults coming up available. Obviously, you have the Catnap, which isn't going to get a ton of value, but it could separate somebody and pull them into death. But you're really hoping on Stubbs to get in here and get some value.
Indeed. Lecco tries it. Recall out early. Prediction doesn't quite materialize.
Yep, Deadeye is here. As they go to the back line, everyone's just hiding inside. Almost gets a D-mech on Cabby. Just barely didn't get hit with it. Unfortunately, Ermac should be dead, honestly, for all rights. Eventually is just torn down right there. Catches on to 4. And all four are in rough territory as Tether decides, hey, reset, that's in the books, as Braven, unfortunately, is just in no man's land right now.
Indeed. I mean, it's such a huge lead, though. Over 100 meters. There's a discussion about Avril theory. There's also... What are we doing, man?
Oh, no.
What are we doing there? Braven, that says so many nice things about you, and then... Okay, man. Why not? Why not?
Hey, do what you do. You still haven't capped over, by the way. You're getting ready to. Forward spawn's finally taken away, but there's only 2 minutes left on the clock. There is a lot that still needs to happen for Blue to get back into this one. As again, Stubbs is getting so much pressure onto them. Pulse bomb stuck directly onto him. Cleanse just in time there from SC right now. Farouk is going to go for the steal. Takes the Kiriko away. Has to drop low enough to get rid of them. Will eventually do so. This time doesn't go down with the ship, as that is a clean fight for them. But there's still a lot to be done.
And that was your counter being invested, right? It's your only tool. You have to slow play the next fight for your rush, and your opponents don't have that same issue. They're going to be walking straight up to the high ground, superior positioning, with ult advantage to you, and just a minute left to go. This is still really tough for Blue Team.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the forward spawn did go through there, so that is a step in the right direction. But again, you see them moving forward. Braven, though, wins the 1v1 as they're trying to keep their team going in this situation. It looks like it's working out really well for them right now, as that point's going to start getting the other way right here, as Stalbus just needs to get out alive. But Farouk is currently in the skybox as we speak. Actually, nope, is now back in respawn.
I think I prefer the value of the Wu Yang. I'll put it that way. I mean, you compare the damage the two have done. Wu Yang's done 4.5k, Farouk's done 1.9. Healing is about the same.
Ooh.
And we haven't really been seeing the actual like hook, I suppose, find all that much. I think the cat's a little bit better, worse rather, in the current patch at the very least. 20 seconds left to go. There's still some time to change my opinion.
Yeah, there still is. You never know. Truly on push, anything can happen, as they're going to keep on moving forward with the Consider Rush activated. I think, did SC lose out on it, or am I crazy? I'll assume I'm crazy. But either way, this fight is continuing. There's only 7 seconds left. They need to find some kind of push here, or at least someone to go and touch at this point, as overtime will be activated. Ultimate's on display in force here for Team Blue. Deadeye is going to be up in the air again. It's just not going to find any value once again. Again, I love going with the gimmicks. It's just not really working, as Staub's lucky to still be alive.
Catch on the Tracer. Can we kill that? Nice. Get the one at the very least, but we're only 1 for 1.
Yeah, Farouk, again, lucky to be alive right now. Staub still is going to be ready with this rampage. Is kind of have to stay on the cart, though. Can't go and help their team, so Lekko and Farouk are somehow still finding value, by the way.
Indeed. So long as we Kiriko as well. Lekko finds that follow-up, and it seems like Blue Team have been able to stay alive, but they're going to need to be perfect from here on out, and 3 fights is probably what you need to be able to get the taxi back of your Cassidy. But there's a lot of pressure on their backs for Aruna Sapo. They've struggled to find much success at all.
Yeah, it has been a struggle, but again, on push, you never say never. Anything can happen here, but if you're a D's, you are hoping to find Lekko, but Braven does instead, and with that could be the domino to get this effect in process right here. But if you're stalled, you have to stay on this point. You have to use the shout so early on. You need to find some kind of value, but nobody wants to step down there. Braven is going to come through. Pulse bomb out there. Farouk caught out. You're going to go for that, but it's going to take you off the point. And that's going to be a Team Red going in on that one. That is a rough one for them, but they tried the connect shenanigans, and with the cast, it just feels like it never properly worked.
No, I mean, it really does feel like the new heroes, at least the non-dominant heroes, aren't that fantastic. I mean, they might have a use case here and there, but I feel like the days of every new character being the most broken thing ever, it might be slightly behind us, right? I mean, we had Deta, we had Juno, we had like Kiriko, obviously Sojun, where they've all released and they've just been meta-defining. We don't quite have that yet for any of these new ones. It feels like again, the closest has been Domina, who's been good, but it's not like she's lit the world on fire either. We've seen plenty of tanks today. Domina's just been one of them.
Yeah, no, 100%. We've seen a lot today, and it's, again, I'm going to echo this point right now because I'm a crazy son of a gun, but it's good that we see as much as humanly possible from everybody. Because it's one thing if we see somebody on the same character all day, it's like, okay, we know they're good at the character, but what else can they do? You know, we've seen a lot of the flexibility for a lot of these players as well. That is what you want. But obviously, Spec, as we both know, there's only so many characters that can be considered viable. There's only so much that you realistically can show without inherently putting yourself at some kind of compositional disadvantage.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, as long as you can play like Kiri, Tracer, Sojin, Lucio, and like 2 tanks, you're probably happy. That's the kind of state we're at, right? Like, so you can do all of that, and then maybe show like one other hero, like a Cass or a Freya, say like a Death or a Venture, the backline like a Wu Yang for both supports. Like, you're unbannable. Like, your comp's gonna be good everywhere. Like all you need for your tank is like, I don't know, so we'll say like Hazard, Ramatra, Domina, something like that. Sigma if you want instead.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a very small pool of heroes you actually need. Everything outside of that is just icing on the cake, in my opinion.
Yeah, you see some teams that will fall into the line of, hey, we go with these tanks in particular, and some teams you think of like, you know, Dirk comes to mind, you throw something like that Hog out a lot of the time, and somehow, some way, still works. But it's nice having that level of flexibility. And even if you have like the 2 big tanks down, like we said before, and like we've seen so many times in Overwatch, that meta can flip on a single dime on a single patch where it's like Zarya Vendetta could be dead tomorrow for all we know. Could just be nuked, and teams need to find something else out and kind of go to what is the next big thing inherently. So we'll see how that develops, obviously, for these players over the weekend, what they decide to look at. But so far, this first day has been nothing short of entertaining. I think that's the perfect word to describe it.
Entertaining for sure. Yeah, we've been getting pretty creative as ever, and coming to what final map of the first block. Then we'll see if we continue at that pace.
Yeah,
let's see the Stabs ball. That'd be quite entertaining. In fact, as you mentioned, the whole day this would be a cherry on the cake.
Yeah, because I feel like we've seen so many tanks under the sun at this stage of the game. In fact, it might be easier to name the tanks that we haven't seen compared to the ones that we have. But I love that at the end of the day. I'm a tank player at heart. I love seeing as much tank play as possible. But we'll see. Adiz being out over on the Freya could be pretty interesting. Same thing if Raven decides to 6 Sombra or not. Obviously, nothing in place until they leave the spawn doors, as we see the... Man, really just hate the Queen. Really, just...
We already banned this.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there's a you know what? Maybe at the end of the day, we'll see if that goes through or not. But they've definitely banned the Queen already.
Yeah, I don't know if she's like good as well at the current patch. I don't think she's like really terrible by any means. But like, there are other tanks I'd be moving towards rather than playing a Queen in the scenarios where I would want to play a Queen. You know, so. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's a solid niche pick, all things considered. Like, it's something you can pull out from time to time, but it's not the thing like you're practicing in 5 maps of Scrim. That's not the thing you're doing. But if something needs to work, it's a solid character to have to pull out if you think like, hey, we could play a super aggressive style with the Queen. That's what she could be extremely good for. But we're ready to get this one started, and Stubbs, indeed, is going out on the Wrecking Ball.
Indeed. You got Sombra Tracer dives. You got a lot of pressure on the target if you sync up onto them, but a lot of peel as well with the Matrix and Cleanse both.
Yeah, 100%. But we're getting this one going. As Stalbs just kind of have to run for their life a little bit here to get things going. As for the time being, going into this one, you're trying to find some level of inherent value. Avalanche is being forced back into a corner, playing Dead by Daylight already in the first fight. As again, a lot of chaos happening, but no one down quite yet.
Yeah, Salves having to stay before looking for another bullet engaged. Not able to sync up onto a target, and both DPS kind of just sitting on the objective. A bit goofy there, unfortunately. Stacked in the same pixel. How's Farouk got 3 boot kills?
You know what? Honestly, Farouk has been kind of just having a good day so far. Low key.
Yeah.
Lucio had a good level of. We haven't seen a lot of Lucio from, or a lot of Lucio from Farouk here today though. Like a ton.
We have. It's been pretty decent. And pre-fight onto Ed is more going in favor of blue team once again.
Yeah, it really has some assistance right here. But we're getting ready to get this next fight underway, hopefully. as you have that bomb, that self-destruct ready for Cabby to kind of give yourself a little bit of a second life should you need it. And to be fair, almost needed it right there. Stubbs didn't pull them back down with a pile driver, though, so it opens up the possibility in this situation to come back into this fight, especially Lecco. Again, back over on that Tracer. We saw what they were able to do earlier. Going into this engagement right here as we're getting ready to go. But still, not a whole lot happening, but a lot of ults about to be ready. Farouk about to have that beat ready to go here. But again, you lose people earlier on right here. Pulse bomb thrown into the ether. Doesn't work out too well. These fights are chaotic, which you would think would work well for the ball comp. Unfortunately, it's not.
We're very slow to scale, and we're also not fully using the lanes available to us in my opinion. I think bull comp with Sombra rather than a Soj is a lot harder. With Soj, you can just boot people from behind cover. Your roll throughs have inherent value because your Soj will be able to follow up. With your bull, you need to all sync up on the same target, and that's just a little bit harder. Raven, obviously, only 70% of the way to an EMP, and very little so far, unfortunately.
Yep, Mindful throw it onto the point, and Lecco just somehow goes into that one. Oh, and Farouk gets another boot kill, by the way. Hacked out for a moment, but still has a beat ready to go. Has to consider pulling it. Almost jumps down onto the mines with it. That would have been terrifying. But still, they're keeping alive in this one as Gabby finishing off body after body. That's a rough first round as 100-0 gets them going. It's, again, interesting theory with the ball Sombra, but Blue just does not let it work.
It's a high skill floor comp, I think. Unfortunately, we're X2C a little bit below it right now. I don't think Braven looks that comfortable on Sombra right now. Not really playing either style of Sombra that I think can kind of work for this. Instead, Excessi up like super far off and then trying to like TP in, I think was the idea. Because these setups are so slow, the D.Va just like boosters on you and then your Sombra v D.Va, you have a terrible time of things. I would imagine they don't stick, and that's, in fact, they're doing the total opposite of sticking. 4 new heroes, only Ermac going to be the one on something similar. Going to be our first look at Mizuki here today, if I'm not much mistaken. See how much value we find. Obviously, you guys have heard me, you know. Again, I don't think I'm the greatest fan, but maybe there's something I haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, I think the ultimate can be very solid. I don't think it beats out something like Consider Rush. Consider Rush is just that kind of ultimate. But in a pinch, it can be really important, especially now that you get the immediate 100 health that comes in through it as well. It can be important, but we're seeing it today for the very first time here. You're a little bit worried about being able to sustain through some of this, which is definitely going to be a bit of an issue, but this first fight has gotten going. Salbs, I think, is just too far forward. Eventually just gets separated and pushed away. And unfortunately, with that early on, Lecco's going to get rid of 2. Will be able to solve this first fight very quickly as they'll take over this point.
Yeah, and I don't think the Fox is a huge fan of the Mizuki either, making them swap over to the Lucio. It turns out speed is pretty useful after all, and until somebody else can give it to you in the neutral, then Lucio's always going to be strong.
Absolutely always. But you go in. Cabby going to try to hit up the back line a little bit. It's going to force everybody around for at least a moment, but elsewise, you're trying to get this fight going right now if you're Stalbs and the rest of this red squad. But it feels like it's tough to get in here and find somebody to collapse in on. I mean, obviously, if Cabby's out there, like, you can punch directly through if you're Stalbs. But now, you get booped off the high ground. In fact, everybody's going to fall to the high ground. And now, if you're Cabby, you have to drop onto the high ground. And everybody else is potentially going to have to follow suit here, as Cabby, again, lucky to be in the mech, as ult's going to be coming in heavily for this next fight.
Indeed. Oh, nice melee onto Lecco to finish that off. So there's a chance to get a Lucio gap, but can't get the movement quite going. And so Farouk's able to back out. Stalbs and Co. able to find their first progress, however, of the map after a pretty tragic downtown, right? But now they got ramp set up in chokes. You've got some kits in a rush for engage. Blizzard as well, lovely tool. Things finally looking their way.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like if you're low at this point, you could try to continue to rush straight through, and in fact, I think that's what they're going to try here in a moment. Try to break through this choke. Ermac obviously is going to have the response available, but we are getting a lot of immediately double consider rush. Avalanche is letting things go. B eventually has to be used to be able to sustain through it. Unfortunately, Adiz does not catch on to it, so it's going to struggle, and eventually things going back and forth, but Blue is going to be able to take control of the point with this engagement. It's not quite over yet, but with the double supports hanging around, being forced around, Annihilation ends up being used,
Ajax.
oh my god, you're right. And now, with that Ajax coming through, that's going to settle this fight. And while they had it, they're going to lose it almost just as quick. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta not do that.
Nope.
Ajax is bad. That's what they pay me the big bucks to say here. No, Huntertain W stream.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's happened twice today so far, which is 2 more times than it should happen.
I can't chat. There's so many videos out there of me Ajaxing.
Yeah, there is. And now Adiz does have a freeze ready to go here, but it's only going to work if you knock a Cabby out of mech, which you did. Unfortunately, there's no wall available. Barely gets it up online in time as the point flips over for free, by the way. He might be taken back just as quickly right here, but Let Go goes in. Pulse Bomb sticks over onto Severed. So now you're going to go in. The freeze comes through. Gets nobody if you're Adiz, who's honestly been really consistent with the ultimates today. Ends up being an error as they're going to fall down. In red, it looks like they're going to fall apart from here as that point's going to, again, flip back just as quickly.
The Blizzard was strangely timed.
Yes.
There was no one there to receive it, especially as Cabby was already dead. People already stacked around it. Didn't really work out, obviously. And now 70% going to where the buck stops, at least for now, for red team. Blue, last fight territory, but you don't have anything quite yet. You do, however, pick up Adiz.
Yeah, that you do. And now you're moving in a scenario like this, trying to find something. Because you're 90%, you need to get this touch coming up here right now. And Braven is going to have to be the one to get them through inherently, as you see over on the high ground, Cabby is just trying to force Braven into the most uncomfortable position possible. Still managed to get rid of their counterpart. Avalanche taken down. Flip could be underway here momentarily as Cabby obviously wants to stay alive, wants to stay in that mech to the best of their ability as the touch is going to come through. Cabby going to run for it. If they get demacked, it would be devastating.
Indeed. But,
oh, they get out.
Yeah, they mostly escape. This is a chance for a push, but Cabby surely can play the cover well enough. 200 HP. Down to 100 with the shot bait. It's all G. Now you got a chance for the beat engage, Kinkitsu engage. You've got so many different options.
You 100% do. About to have all 5 on here. Continue rush. Gonna be thrown up on both sides to get things going. Avalanche going to be forced out, and now you lose one of your biggest tools early on in this display, but Farouk has to be available. Doesn't throw it out in time to find any value here, and now you need to rush back to this point. Cabby is going to have to sustain with the bomb. Needs to somehow be able to remech, and will be able to do so. Sustain a little while longer. But Farouk's spawn has taken so long to the point where I don't think this beat's going to find any value whatsoever. But Avalanche gets rid of 1, gets rid of 2, beats back. Avalanche gets rid of 3, forces everybody back, hoping to find the 4th. Avalanche going wild. As Staubs just has to sustain on the point, but their team is so far away. And it's going to be Staubs going down. Avalanche is a freaking hero as they somehow pull that back.
That is egregious. I mean, that was a really sloppy Overwatch. Let's be entirely honest here. We don't beat, so our Soj with clock gets picked first. We try and win out the 4v5 when we get some value. But in the late fight, it's not even a late fight, it's cleanup phase, realistically. Avalanche swings super late, gets a collat kill with the first shots, and because there's no defensive anything at that stage of the fight, is just allowed to just sit there, click a couple targets, and then drop themselves into a 2v1 with a Ramacho, whose only option is to hold arms and hope that the Nanite's still enough damage to kill the Soch, and that's not happening. Especially with the Lucio peel.
Yeah,
Nice
that is...
up with that in the dunk.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. My God. So we'll see what they just finished from here. Adiz is currently sitting on the M-Ray here. Which again, we saw the M-Ray earlier. I believe it was it Lecco pulled it out earlier, yes, on Gibraltar, and very hit or miss. And by that I mean the hit was the ultimate, the miss was essentially everything else. But we'll see if anything sticks. Obviously, we're still on the spawn. And right now, Blue is just literally partying with Lucio. I love it.
Yeah, I mean it works out. Sorry, I'm still kind of in shock from that Soj play. I mean,
yeah, that is insane.
What? Okay, if we say so. I think also it's a very unlucky timing with the walls on point. People start hugging them for cover, then they go down. You never really expect it. Pretty goofy. But when all's said and done, then we're heading here onto Sanctuary. Obviously, already went out for blue team. Red want to finish strong though once more.
Yep, you would absolutely love to be able to do so as you go to this one. But Lecco is just gone on the spot. That is a rough person to lose this early on, but still, if you're able to kind of recollect, this point still going to take a few seconds to open up, so this is very much so winnable, especially as Lekko's going to get back into this very quickly.
Indeed. Avalanche pretty much out of the fight. Stabs overextends. Be out, or cleanse out early. So Jungle does get better though. Avalanche in strong position.
Yep, Cabby gonna get a little bit extra sustain, and Stalbs just needs to try to hang in the mech for as long as possible. He is knocked out though, and that should be the first domino falling to be able to get them this point for now. The fight not over yet by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gonna be really hard to pull this one back, especially as Braven, Emrak, just everyone's so incredibly low, and here come the finishes as they'll get rid of 3 total as everyone else has to just run for the hills and reset.
Yeah, I don't think double hit scan setups like these are particularly strong. You lose a lot of ability to set up angles and swap to the Ash, but I ultimately feel like a Tracer, again, the Adventure, will find a little bit more than what we're currently seeing from this Emre. Maybe if he's going to help me eat my words, but right now, 5-man walking high. I got this is a very easy setup for blue team to counter.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see how well it goes down, though. As, again, you're getting back to double DPS ultimates right now. Avalanche, again, who did so well before with that overclock, is not going to be gifted the same luxury, of course, as Pulse Bomb thrown out, cleanse, perfectly timed by Emrak to keep them alive. There is Lekko, unfortunately, not going to be able to sustain right there, and now Point threatening to flip over as Cabby gonna have to go for the touch over onto the point, and he's gonna be able to do so. And honestly, Stalbs now getting a ton of pressure, needs to stay in that mech really badly as the DPS gonna be able to finish them off. Cabby gonna die on the point as it's gonna flip over here at about 65, 66% is what it'll be as Lekko unfortunately takes the death.
Yeah, you'd want to try and stall out a bit longer, if not reset as fast as possible. You can't even stagger the Tracer because there's a decent chance of a 1-clip. And so, just like a quick death granted. 4 ultimates though walking up. This might not be very much progress at all, especially if you can get some position correctly. Beat mirrored out, so's the Kitsu, so's the bomb in fact, but that clock, we've seen big things before from our Avalanche.
Yeah, 100%, and we're going to see the override protocol being thrown out here. Would love to find somebody. In fact, he's going to get rid of 1, make it a 2, make it a 3-piece combo, and unfortunately, Cabby going to be the next victim on display. Again, that ultimate, you can say what you want about the hero, that ultimate finds so much value.
It feels like it's the only time we say anything about Emre, but when we do, I mean, a 3-piece into Diva, into B, you say that basically every day of the week, close to equalizing now in terms of that point percentage. That being said, neither team spent fully, so Bob invested for another early engage.
Yeah, 100%. Love the aggression being taken here early on. Farouk forced into a corner. Is in a really rough spot here, but at the same time, again, they're taking more time away. We're at 60% now. They want to be able to finish this this map, and honestly, this entire block, strong as best as possible. But now they only have the bomb to do it. Both sides now in that same situation right now as Farouk going to go in with the early aggression here with the beat, and it's going to force everybody back. The point slowly beginning to cap over. I don't think anybody can force a retouch either. And with the bomb thrown out by Cabby, they're going to be able to barely remech as bomb thrown back. They're going to die, at least get out of their thing. Eventually should go down. It's a very chaotic fight, but at the end of the day, you would think Red should be able to sustain through this and take this point back, and I feel like they should be able to.
Yeah, these new work done already. Lekko does get 1, however. This is so chaotic. But no, it goes out in the end. Essie, the final one to be dispatched. Last fight territory for both sides. Farouk, my guy, I don't think there's a lot there for you. And so both sides now, last fight territory, being closer to ults, does make it so Red Team have an advantage. And defensively as well, they have probably 70% ults to win this fight, I'd say.
Yeah, 100%. And there's not a whole lot available either. It's like maybe you get Southern to get this beat up online, but that is such a giant maybe right now. You got to focus to keep everybody alive, and Southern is so close. The beat is now ready to go. Point going to flip over, and now you're going to see an aggressive approach here momentarily, but more than anything, you need to keep Ermac alive, who now is going to have a Consider Rush here momentarily. Beat going to catch onto that one. Consider Rush is going to be online shortly for both teams. Ermac is going to let it go immediately as he needs to stay alive to let this go online, but already you've lost Lekko early on in this engagement. Consider Rush is eventually going to be available, but is it going to be too little too late? Because again, D's going to have some value, hoping to get rid of somebody, but instead it's fully separated from the team. Eventually going to go down as the cap going to come through. They barely barely get the retouch in time, but I don't think it's going to mean a whole lot here. Lecco needs to have the pulse bomb of the century to pull this one back around. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's inherently going to happen here. It's thrown down, will find no value, and at the very least, as Farouk's gonna beat on top for the point to live a little while longer. Avalanche would love to run it back. Electric Boogaloo. Unfortunately, I keep saying it, they should be done here.
Yeah, I get the one, but again, a strong finish for Red Team here, who closed out the first block with the win on Sanctuary. Double hit scan, a little bit more effective here due to the long sight lines, due to the fact it's a little bit easier to set up. But as we see, it is tooth and nail. They're able to finally get that close out. Blue Team very strong today, but the ults were incredibly impactful to boot.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is really nice at the end of the day. This is, again, another chaotic map, it feels like. But it's a really good display on a lot of this ult usage, I feel like. Especially, I mean, I'll keep talking about the as I get 5 loot boxes. Thank you, Overwatch. It's nice to see what we can do in a situation like this. Where again, we see so many different characters that, you know, obviously not every character is going to be able to be game breaking and change an entire thing. But it's nice to be able to see it all and what these players could do. Because I think everybody, no matter how consistent or inconsistent it was, I think had very visible high points here today. And every time, you want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody got to, you know, strut their stuff, as it were. Oh, I got 5 loot boxes as well. What's that for?
Hey, I don't know. I think I could gaslight it and say, like, it's because you're watching the Huntertain OW stream. but no, I do not know where they came from. But to be fair, if I have some loot boxes sitting in my my mailbox, I don't think I'm gonna question them. Gotta be honest. But Spec, we've been at this for about 2 hours, so I'd say while they're taking a minute to figure out a quick break with them, I think we should probably do the same thing, just really quick, get some tea, some water, get ready for the next block. So we'll take a quick 5-minute break, get ready for this next one, but when we come back, we'll be ready for another block here of the Team Turkey Tryouts for the World Cup. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. As you can tell, I'm a little alone now. I've lost my counterpart. Spec has showed me for the first block, and now I'll be going solo for the second one. Which, in all fairness, this was my assumption that I originally been doing all by myself. But I do appreciate Spectreon helping me with this first block. Being able to see all these amazing players, because that was an extremely entertaining and while chaotic instance. It was a lot of fun during that first block, and obviously we'll be doing what we can for the second block as well. I do have some things to take care of a little later on today, but I'm just happy to be here, happy to keep showing off what we can. But there were some amazing displays during that first block. A lot of people that stood out, and I've been really excited to see it all. We have a bunch of new people coming in. A couple people are staying in, like I think Farouk and Ermac are still staying in, but and Leko as well. But there is a lot of new players that are going to be coming in. Obviously, a lot of players swapping out as a result as well. So we'll see what ends up going down at the end of the day. It's going to be pretty entertaining to see us. We're just waiting on, I think, one to get in before we get things properly started. We'll see here momentarily as I need to let myself see this as high as possible, because I'm not the best speller in the world. I'll tell you that much. But it's been an incredible time. One block to go. I don't know if I have that. We're gonna find out later. But no, this has been incredibly fun so far. As I drop my coffee, that's always nice. I know it's empty anyway, so we're chilling. But no, I mean, for everyone here, yeah, it is hype time. Yeah. So let's talk about that. We have a bunch of new people coming in for each team. Let's talk about red team first. Is actually, I could just bring it up and show y'all. I got no reason not to. A little bit of shout out really quick. My man Dexatron. I realized I was working with very bare bones stuff. He was able to provide me with a nice little scorecard, an overlay for the game screen, which obviously thankful to him. He always makes the stuff, so if it ever looks good, that he is the reason why. But these are the current lineups as we see right now. Let's look at Team Red. Ermac was previously in during that first block. Is going to be at least starting the second block as well. We have Flat and Basong in, and then I see some Samarth fans in the chat right now. Love to see it. All right, we take those. And then Orpheus as well over on that team too. For Team 1, Leko and Farouk that were in Block 1 are starting for Block 2 as well for Blue Squad. And now we have Dragonite in, I believe, to play DPS alongside Leko. Cotton Marty going to be in there as well, as we're not going to waste any time here. We went very back-to-back. We fit in 6 maps into 2 hours, and that was a lot of fun. But Dokux is going to be in as well. And by the way, if I am messing up any pronunciations, I encourage y'all in chat, tell me. I am more than happy to correct myself if I am saying anything incorrectly. That's at the end of the day, I want to be able to pronounce names as properly as possible. In a situation like this, honestly, in any situation, these lobbies should be his. We'll see. We'll see if Samarth can add that value. We saw a lot of really interesting tank gameplay before, originally, so I'm excited to see how that ends up going down in a situation like this, where at least starting with this map right here, no specific comp's going to be locked in as of this time. We did have a couple of rounds where comps were locked in previously. Like we had a round King's Row where the Tsar and Vendetta had to be permitted. It had to be played, which ended up being pretty interesting. But it'll be nice to see if Samarth does come out on the ball in this situation. It'd be extremely entertaining. We saw a little bit of ball gameplay a little earlier back. But honestly, I'm happy to see it. The ball can do a lot of crazy things. I see a demon in blue. Yes, you do. But no, this is going to be really exciting. But again, I'll be going solo for the rest of the day. Did I not turn? No, I turned my mic back on. I'm not completely crazy. Did I forget to do things? Maybe I did. I'm making sure. I feel like I'm being a little I'm making sure I didn't mess something up, but I don't think I did. Either way, well, we were about to get this one going. I have been stopped. But I'll do some more chatting as we kind of get into this one, because it's going to be a very long weekend for those that are not aware of the week that we're going to have. Actually, let me I should just pull it up, actually, shouldn't I? I'm excited to sort. Oh, okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. Excited to watch my boyfriend play Draconite. I will make sure to give some plenty of Draconite perspectives in this one. I will do my best. 110%. I'm excited to watch everybody, especially the people that we haven't seen quite yet in the situation. At least in the previous block earlier today. But just to quickly, before we fully get into this thing, just gonna jump over here and throw this over on display. This is our schedule for the week and what we've got going on. So who knows why they have them at the end. But we're doing helping with the tryouts for not just today, but also tomorrow. I'm gonna have one of my co-casters, Megalast, helping me out tomorrow with that one. But we're also doing tryouts for all 3 days for Team Chile going on later in the night. First one's happening tonight at 8 p.m. EST. That will be a ton of fun. And then we also have a show match going on tomorrow night between Costa Rica and Puerto Rico, happening very late at 8 p.m. EST, which I know is very late. It's pretty much in the middle of the night for EU, but we'll see how that goes. Either way, we're ready to properly get the second block underway here to get things going. And again, it's going to be the D.Va versus the Ball. And we saw a little bit of each of these characters in previous affairs in that very first block, as Draconite nearly gets knocked off the edge to get things going. And we'll be taken out quickly, but fight not going to be over quite yet, as Carmarty wants to be able to stay in the mech. It's just not going to happen, as Samarth happy to get some initial value for their squad, as the point's going to unlock, and first fight should be theirs inherently as they try to chase down Doxu, but looks like eventually it'll come to form as the cap comes through. Allow. I don't know why I can't. I don't know why I won't allow that. That's cool. But we'll see. We'll get this thing rocking and rolling into this one. As again, you're gonna see Flat get the big pit onto Draconite again to get things started. You're going to see a lot of pressure, I think, from the Red Squad to just keep on everything and make it as difficult as possible to take a regular fight. No way, bro. But we'll see. I mean, so far, it's great for Red. Smarth is showing their value pretty early on, but it's going to be big on the DPS, too, between Basong and Flat to do what they want to do here. And so far, it's working out extremely well for them. You're kind of seeing blue. That's gonna, I think, throughout the series is definitely going to come together more and more and more as these continue on. But at least for now, we're seeing a bit of a struggle to get out the gate if you're Team Blue. Again, gonna be saving my voice a little bit as best I can, but I still want to talk as much as I can through this. Eventually, I will have to grab a bottle of water. Running low, but we see the mines being thrown into the center. It's gonna cause separation. Draconite completely separated away from the rest of their squad. Letgo, again, who was in during that first block right now, did have a lot of impressive times over on the Tracer. Gonna hit the recall as Pulse Bomb is ready, and it's gonna stick perfectly. Letgo gets rid of two with the Pulse Bomb. It's gonna open up a potential door here for who can stay alive, who has the sound barrier online here pretty soon. Just needs to try to hang around and stay alive. Is so close. Eventually is gonna be given the ability to do so, as now the point potentially going to be unlocked here, as you do have consider rushes available for both sides. It's going to be from Ermac first, as Doctix is going to be available to use theirs. Farouk is going to lose out on the sound barrier as Basong's going to cut them down. Gets rid of 3, by the way. That's going to end this first round handedly so, as Red Team just on a really good display earlier on. That is a very strong way to start that one. That's incredible.
Ready for battle.
Oh, that is an incredible way to get things going right there. But, I mean, again, Orpheus and Smarth and Ermac don't go down. It's a really good display for them earlier on. But, again, this is going to be a very long block. It's going to be a situation where I think you're going to watch everybody get stronger and stronger, more comfortable as the series goes forward. That's just how it's going to go down. And I'm happy that's how it's going to go down. That's exactly what we saw from the first block as well. It felt like things were maybe a little one-sided to start, and it ended up going very back and forth after the game. No, Smarth I don't think has missed a slam yet, but, eventually has to miss one. Eventually. It's an inevitability. But it's going to be about, I think, punishing Smarth here as much as possible, because Smarth is just going to stay mobile and just try to cause as much chaos as possible. Force people to look back and separate the fight into two different places. That's what you inherently want to do as a ball player, is take away that as Theus gets the boop off the side early on, and now people are separated once more. Let go taken care of means this fight is done and dusted, as Red's going to proceed onward with another fight win. Yeah, that's a slight rough one right there to really take care of. But we'll see, because this is not a bad comp by Blue at all. I like this comp quite a bit. But you need to find the value of catching someone like Orpheus or Mac kind of out whenever you get the opportunity to do so. Nice stick over there onto flat to be able to push him back a little further. Still, rough place to be in right now, as Dragonite would love to find some kind of finish here. Hasn't quite yet. Orpheus is in pretty deep. Eventually will be taken out as a result. And now you could see a first fight twin online here as Smarth. Gonna be able to get out alive for the moment. He's getting a ton of pressures. Cleanse has to be used on them. Mega going to be grabbed to sustain through it all. In this fight, not entirely over yet, because there's not really any pressure over on the point, as Farouk does end up going down, so it's causing the tides to begin to turn a little bit here. Smarth has to use those adaptive shields as well to just keep them going a little further to be able to keep up a level of aggression. But unfortunately, Blue is not able to inherently finish anybody off right here, so it's a little on the rough side. Yeah, that Ajax before was a little brutal. But what could be brutal here is Orpheus has theirs online, as Ermac's going to let this loose. Basong is gone pretty quickly, so this has an inherent value to go the way of Blue. But the beat going to be used here in the 45. Rally thrown in to sustain. Dragonite tries to find some kind of inherent value. Doesn't really at the end of the day, as you have Samarth again in the backline, just taking a ton of pressure. You would love to find a point capture here. You're kind of keeping some level of pressure on right here, but there's so much chaos going on down below. Eventually, Comberry's gonna have to use the bomb over on the point. Gonna cause momentary separation as Basong goes in and gets stomped down. Mines are over on the point. Samarth's gonna try to sustain through it all, and so far doing a really good job of doing so, and gonna be forced off as they need to be able to cap the point over. Bodies throwing on. As you get the cap over, you give yourself a chance here. Honestly incredible. And Farouk going to be down early as Basong on the blade again. Going crazy, has already gotten rid of 2 right here, and Dragonite going to go down the result. Basong gets rid of 4. Actual insanity is Converti is just unfortunately got to take the L right there, and that's going to be the second point now taken care of. But remember, we are on the scrim codes, and that's going to be done and dusted right there on that second round. But again, it's a really good display for Blue, and Red looks a little lost right now, but again, comfortability will continue to work as things move forward. Let's take a look at stats really quick, though. As, I mean, biggest stat lineup here is Vlad, who's 14-1 right now. Looks fantastic. Samarth still hasn't died as well. 17 kills, no deaths. Looks incredible so far. I mean, everyone in chat, I didn't say you were going to exaggerate, but I had to see it and believe it with my own eyes, and right now, it looks wonderful. It's going to be about our blue team kind of trying to find inherent value from this, because it's going to be tough to find the value. 110% it is. But you just gotta find a way. You gotta make it happen. But we're getting ready to get this one going. Just waiting on Stockix and Leko to get things going in this next one. As again, so far, this ball style is going to be very unique, and you're going to see a lot of these bands kind of move towards Smarth, I think, and Basong in the future here. Because, just a reminder, there are some points that are going to be a little more over on the side of... Get on the point. Yes, you are... Turlands, you are 100% true. Gotta have that point pressure. Absolutely a must right here. And I think you might see a level of ability for them to go to the point and force some people to have to make their way over, because it's been blue team having to take the fight to red a lot, and it feels like you are happy to let them come to you if you can force separation. Draconite gonna be down early though. Basong lucky to be alive here, as Ermac cannot say the same thing, so still back and forth. Smarth more than happy to keep kind of hanging around, staying alive, but big boob sends Ferg flying. As the points still open up right now, as you're so close to getting rid of Basong here, eventually going to be gone, and now we have a fight available right here. Smarth going to try to get out alive, gets rid of one, as a matter of fact. There's pressure over on the point. You get the nice cleanse over onto them. They are literally one, and while Ophius is down, Comarty is going to have to go ahead and grab the health pack just to kind of sustain through it all. Let go ends up falling as a display, though. It's, again, Smarth is just finding so much inherent value over on the Wrecking Ball. As Comarty eats away on the Pulse Bomb. Okay, that's good progress. That puts you in good territory here to potentially take this one away. You take away an amazing tool. Unfortunately, you're just losing out on supports more and more and more. The song finishes off another one. And while Samarth is getting pressured out, the point's going to be theirs, as they're just going to be able to sustain once more. That is insane. It's like who goes down to their own Pulse Bomb. Oh, no. Oh, that's tragic at the end of the day. Absolutely tragic. But hey, Farouk, I was gonna say, has the ability to sustain through this. Smart gets you get so much healing off of these adaptive shields now. When you have that, you learn. It is incredible how much sustainability you can truly have. But Comarty keeping this fight alive right now, getting rid of Flat earlier on, and now while Smart is keeping them going as well, eventually separation is going to come through. Ermac, who was doing, I think, a lot of incredible things earlier on, is eventually going to be taken care of, as Basong has just been a unit. It's going to use the blade here, is going to cut through another, and while you're going to be able to find more, it's just going to force them back. And Basong has deflection still, should be able to live through this, is close to going down, eventually will. So there's a chance, ladies and gentlemen, there is a chance. Chains don't break no matter what. You are right about that. We'll see, though. Maybe a free cap, potentially. And it looks like it is going to come through. 76% right here. Draconite does have the overclock ready to go right here. But Orpheus, early pick here, as you just might want to get out of the situation. Comarty is going to have the bomb available. Would love to get out of there. But instead, hashes the bomb away from the point, as Flat gets rid of two with that. Pulse Bomb doing God's work out here, but Leko is here as well. Wants to keep this team going as they are able to help get rid of Basong, as Leko is going to barely able to get the health back. Would love to recover, and they're back over on the point. So close to having it, but unfortunately, no one's going to get back there in time. Only 27%, and now we're back in final fight territory. Oh, but here we go. Final fight territory as Doxix is just in a weird area. Draconite booped away and taken care of early, and all you can do is just consider to the point and hope that it's going to be enough right here. Unfortunately, separation comes through. You're just going to have to TP and consider on the point and pray that happens, but my god! The song has been elite this entire first round. You get one more touch with Comedy, but that is going to be done and dusted. That is going to be all 3 rounds going over to Red. And they look great right now. They look fantastic. Like, it is very apparent how good this team looks right now. Wow. We'll see what changes from here on out, obviously. We're gonna have to see. Oh, this is crazy. Man, I have to look back at the stats later on that game. I absolutely have to, because there's a bit of insanity to that one right there. They have actually, how do they flip sides? No. All right, so something has happened. As a matter of fact, I'll show y'all momentarily as we're getting ready to set up for the second map. I'll throw that over to Team Red, not Team Blue, Team Red. We have seen a little bit of a swap right here. You see Flat and Lecco going to be swapping places. Actually, did we see more swap? Yeah, we did. So Ermac and Farouk, who were both in originally, are back together again. The thing is, we didn't see this a ton in the first one. We only saw one swap in the entire first block. But you might see these swapping arounds happen a little bit more in the second one. Especially as you already saw people like Lecco, like Ermac, and Farouk, where you want to see what they can do with everybody at the end of the day. Because remember, this is going to be a long weekend of tryouts. I believe 4 days are set aside for tryouts. But we'll see. Blue team, first ban, it's going to be the Sigma. Bans are going to be used today. The first map is pretty hands-on. Sometimes we don't ban. Everything is going to be different between every map, honestly. That's just how things are going to be. But we do know the Sigma is the ban for Team Blue to get things going. And we'll see what Red is going to ban here. I mean, inherently, you could choose to get rid of something like the Lucio that Farouk's been playing quite a lot. But to be fair, Farouk hasn't gotten a ton of value from it either. So we'll see here pretty shortly what the case is going to be. Who got to your depth, though? I mean, you're right. Not wrong. Oh, this is incredible. This chat is more active than it has been all day. I love it in here. But we're just waiting and seeing what the second ban is going to be before we properly get into things. But we're here for a second. What did y'all think of that that first round? I will say, as what is apparent, I'm on a 2-minute delay, so I asked this question. You probably won't get a response for about 2 minutes. We'll see how things go from there. It's just competitive integrity. Don't want to give anything away to anyone that may be watching. That's kind of the whole point of it. Maybe I could have gone less than 2 minutes, but you know, hey, live and learn. Live and learn. But we're going almost 30 strong right now. Love it. I'm happy. I'm happy that people have come out for this one. Oh, there. Yeah, y'all are going crazy in the chat. Holy moly.
Hey there. Hi. Hello there.
Incredible. The big red? Yes, the big red. We'll see. Ilari is the second ban coming through here for Team Red.
4,
So with the Ilari gone, we'll go ahead and throw them up in here. And that'll be your bans for Havana, Unana. So we'll try to make those look a little bit better, because Hunter, I had to change a bunch of stuff for the original thing, had to change it back, so I'll be able to make them look a little bit better later on tonight. That is a crazy comment, is all I gotta say to that. But I'm gonna focus in on the game as we're gonna get ready to go here momentarily. It's gonna be the Downa versus the Mauga to get things started. This is a lot more poke and Herrick comp that we're seeing, but Carmody over on the Mauga is gonna make this very interesting, and Samartha is gonna have to play very carefully in a scenario like this. As is apparent out the gate, by the way, from almost getting burnt down before the fight's even really begun. But you're going to see a lot of poke be used here at the end of the day, and that's kind of what you want, but you're also giving Samartha a lot of room to work with if you can't, like, oppress them as much as humanly possible. As they're going to move up over, you see the immediate retreat as Draconite is down early, and Farouk not far behind. So this first point looking like it could be quick. Eventually need to make it back over to the point that they will. Immortality Field is gone as Ermac, again, had a really consistent day so far. Needs to keep Carmody alive, who is still alive. Unfortunately, Immortality Field just is not going to be there in time. Almost gets rid of Lecco right there with the clip. Unfortunately, this feels like it's going to be really tough to pull back. Would absolutely love to, but someone has to put themselves on the cart. It's just going to happen at the very last second right here as you have Comerity around the corner as Mark is going to get their one. Or Ermac, my apologies. Oh, that's beautiful. But that's a really quick point, and Basong over on the Hanzo. See what they're going to be able to do. Already has looked great as Dragon can be thrown in. As Dragonite jumps over it. Is kind of lucky to be alive. Eventually will go down, though. And Smart's going to have their Panopticon on here pretty shortly. As they haven't been able to get a whole lot on yet. Samarth forced into the corner, though, which, by the way, Samarth still hasn't died yet so far, as Panopticon thrown in, going to catch on to at least one, as Samarth gonna get rid of Conmerity, is gonna try to push bodies back, is so low right now, close to going down, is literally at 1 health, and they're gonna go down the first time Samarth has gone down today, and to be fair, it's at a pretty critical time where they're trying to keep this cart going, but with Ermac in there, who's gonna be given the Pulse Bomb, that card is going to continue shortly here. We'll see here shortly how this next fight goes. You're going to have the cage fight ready pretty soon, but double supports ready for Team Red. Could bode well, could not, as Comerity is just in the back line, has already gotten rid of one, hoping to get rid of a second. Will be able to do so. Has been impressive a little more in this map, where things open up a little bit more for them. They're able to feel like they do a lot more. Play something that's maybe a little more to their style. But it's been really nice to see. It's been really nice to see. It's been a long day already, it feels like. And that's because it's a shocker. It's because it has been a long day. Immortality Field that's already been used here from Orpheus, who just really would like to stay alive, honestly. Solid strategy in a game like Overwatch to be able to do so. But Dragonite, who's been on the quieter side so far throughout this, has a Pulse Bomb ready to go. He's gonna throw on the Tidal Blast. He's gonna get thrown back momentarily. We'll stick the butt directly on the song right there. And that opens things up beautifully right there as Samarth in a really rough area. Pistol flying out. Duxus is able to get the Mega Health Pack and try to get out alive, but that just is not going to happen. As we have the first real teammate from them coming through here, as it feels like Blues gain momentum for the first time today, as Basong is back on that Genji. Incredible, quite honestly. So we'll see where things go from here, as Carmody is going to be able to help everybody move in a little bit here, but Smart over on the Evo just makes a little bit more sense, quite honestly. They're going to move in with a little bit of aggression, get stopped at the last second, as Dawkins is just, again, lucky to be alive right here. Carmody got to back out a little bit just to stay alive. That cage fight's still available, though. You might just use it over here on Smart to be able to burn them down, but cage fight used here, it's going to put them in a really awkward situation, as Smart just going to be hanging up the point now. Eventually, we'll go 3 to burn them down. Oh, that's beautiful to see right there. As Flat gonna be able to move forward, they're gonna burn down Samarth as just gonna let them take the death right there. We'll see where things go from here though. As again, only a minute 20 left on the clock, so a hold here on second is very possible, as a matter of fact. But you're still looking like Lecco, who again was, I think, displayed a lot during that first block. Looked incredible. Looked great for that matter. But we'll see pretty shortly here. As you're going to be able to burn away Samarth out of the mech. It's just going to, yeah, it's going to burn them away. And now, I mean, Blue looks really good right now.
Get them off the payload.
Pulse bomb thrown out, and yeah, Comrade, goodbye. Dragon Knight is still alive though, so there is a available touch, especially since Basong is not back in yet. You have options. Tidal Blast thrown in. You would love to find some kind of target. You do, as you get Toxics to 1. They're gonna get out alive though. Unfortunately not gonna hit the pulse bomb either. Will go down, so this first, or second point I should say, should be dusted here. You send the beat down just for good measure here as Comrade, the last one to go down. And that, yeah, heading over to third point.
Let's kick this off.
Dragon Knight, actually big pick on Lecco this early on, actually. It's not going to stop progress, quite honestly, as Samarth is going to go back to the chaoticness of that fall that worked so well back on Ilios. It looks fantastic. Still, though, Flat wants to keep them in the conversation as well. The DPS kind of picking things up a little bit here, which is what you want to see. You want to see everybody kind of popping off their own way throughout the day, and, I mean, Flat is just doing exactly that. It's going to go back up in the air. Almost finds the flick right there. Is going to get booped back momentarily as you see the backline being interrupted. Comeri, though, over on the Domina is just finding great display. Pulse bomb thrown out as Flat hits a nice shot right there to keep them going. 20 seconds left on the clock. Smart kind of needs to hang around. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. Three seconds left on the clock, though. Overtime's going to come through. We'll see what ends up coming through the display, though, right here, as Flat can be forced back into the corner. There's a massive dive trying to go towards them right now, but you have to hide around this corner as Basong going to be caught out. Point still moving forward as Emrak is so close to going down. Eventually will. Dragon Knight just have a pulse bomb ready to go. Has to hide in the back line. Kind of hanging around, doing their thing. Would love to find somebody. Is eventually gonna have to just get back over to their side though. Like there's no real option here. You have to get back in there. As they're gonna nearly get off the cart, by the way. You're gonna have the Panopticon thrown onto two people. One burnt away as the mine's gonna try to do a little something, but Bada is just being burnt one after another. They're throwing everything they can to the situation. It looks like it's gonna be enough as Flick gets rid of 3 to finish. Oh my god.
Score 0-2. Switching sides. Ready for battle.
Wow. But we're getting ready to get the next one going. We'll have to see what goes down here pretty soon.
3,
As we're getting ready to get the... Well, I was gonna say...
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Anyway, we are ready to get into our next round here. We see Samarth back over on the Wrecking Ball. We saw it a little bit there at the tail end of third point. We'll see if it gets any inherent value this time right here as they try to be disruptive in the back line. It just really doesn't happen here. Samarth is going to try to get out of there alive. Would obviously just love to find inherent value and cause as much chaos as possible. Because it's been so hard to burn down Samarth, who has only, I think, really died once on this ball through the entire time. But Trade-Out's going through. Dragon Knight does get the good pick on Deleko. But... for the time being, still in good territory, keeping the cart slowly moving forward right now. But you're going to see Samarth keep interrupting that every single chance they get. That's inherently what you want to do here, to the best of your ability. As Dragon Knight is getting forced back further and further, Samarth just has all the healing and all the health in the world. Like, what are you going to do into that one? What can you possibly do into that one? You know? Comedy is kind of forced into a really lose-lose situation right now where they're separated from their team, but they also don't have the ability to finish anybody off either. It's a weird situation. Samarth, though, does get incredibly low right there. Just doesn't really have the sustainability as Dragon Knight has gotten a second one in the fight now. Would love to find a third here if possible right now as Samarth is trying to take more and more attention away right here as you eventually see them up top. It's the song going to be taken care of. Orpheus sitting at 1. It is going to be taken down as Dragon Knight potentially, with their best fight thus far, will be hit with the pulse, but Immortality Field more than happy to keep them alive as this point will be locked in. And, hey, you know what? Dragon Knight looking good. Crazy style? Crazy? I was crazy once. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're not here to glaze any particular player. We're here to talk about everybody and what everybody is able to do so far, because everyone has been doing better and better as we've gone through since the very first point of map 1. But Mind's thrown out here, going to try to make a little bit of space right here as Ermac, no cooldowns to be seen right now, is going to be able to kind of hang around, try to make a little bit of space, you could say. They're going to be able to go in and find a little something in the situation. Everyone will be forced back as Pulse Bomb. We see the stick. Orpheus going to get hit. Incredibly done as, again, Dragon Knight has really come alive in the second map, especially here on this attack. But that pressure is continuing as Doxus and Pasong both low will both go down. And that'll be fascinating to see. Camarius also kind of been a little more aggressive with his Domina, which obviously Domina just barely misses out though. They need to keep bodies over on this point, which has been a little bit of an issue throughout the day for both squads as Panopticon is available, it's not the time or the place to use it. So you should see this next fight done and dusted here as Red's going to be able to sustain for the time being, unless you get a really good shot here. If you are Dragon Knight, unfortunately, just not able to do so. Making a little bit more space right here as Samarth is going to force bodies away. Ermac is going to be done right there as the enemy push back. Yeah, this fight should be done and dusted. But, I mean, Ermac trying to do their best shoe impression. I can't lie. Looking great right now. Continuing rush to be thrown over on the point. Keep them going. You do end up getting the field out there, and that's going to help burn away Kotmurti. Look amazing. Yeah, ball on Havana defense is a little bit of craziness, but I like that we're on the Diva right now. I think it's gonna work good for Cutmurdy. Smart's honestly been doing quite a bit on the Domina so far. It's had a lot of survivability for them, but we want to see that flexibility. Oh, not me, not me, Mr. Streamer guy. Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah. I know you're not talking about me in particular, but I also just want to kind of make it clear, you know, I'm here to see what everybody can do. I'm excited for that. But speaking of what people can do, Draconite finishes off another 2 right here as they're going to be able to proceed forward into the 3rd and final point. Basong going to make the swap over to the Widowmaker. Try to keep this one from stem the bleeding, we'll say. Try to keep this in their favor. But there's a lot on display here. I think everyone's looking a lot better right now, and you're seeing someone like Draconite and Flat really pick things up as well. I'm hoping for Lecco to do Lecco to do the same thing, as they were really alive in the previous block, but obviously has already played a lot of Overwatch so far, so we'll see how long that longevity goes, as Basong is going to get a first good shot here on Deflat to be able to, again, stem the bleeding a little bit here, force things to have to take a little more of their time. And everyone now has to be incredibly careful how they peek this, as Draconite's going to go for this. Helps get rid of one, I should say, as Basong finds an amazing shot, gets another amazing shot. That is rough to deal with. Wow, wow, wow. Have to deal with this. You're gonna have to shut down Basong here pretty soon if you want to find any like massive value as a result. But we'll see here pretty shortly, as it's gonna be Lecco finding that first one onto Flat, and yeah, this fight is inherently dusted once more, as Draconite would love to get out alive. He's kind of lucky to, quite honestly, as this is gonna be such a tough hold to break through. You're gonna have to find somebody who finds an early pick on blue. But you are making a little more progress over on the cart finally right here. You see the Tidal Blast is ready onto Lecco, who's going to move in. Doesn't get a whole lot. Bomb almost finishes them off, but the recall is there in time. Cummerdy cannot hit the remake, unfortunately. So again, progress going to stop here, as Lecco now has a pulse bomb online. Unfortunately, the forklift is not your enemy. I promise you that, as Flat going to go down. Lecco's still really deep in there with not a whole lot of cooldowns. Again, also lucky to be alive, trying to get out of there to the best of their ability, but already going to try to keep the squad alive and going. And with a little help from Farouk, you might be able to do so, but again, Basong with an amazing shot. The cart will progress for a moment here. Oh boy, this is going to be a rough one to deal with right here, as again, we're seeing body after body go down, as you just have Draconite having to hang around. You do have Pulse Bomb available. You just have to throw it in there and hope you get something. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. So, I mean, somewhat similar results for both teams. So, ultimately, don't hit it at the end of the day. But right now, Red is still looking pretty good. They do end up winning that map as a result of how things went down. But it's somewhat similar results for both squads, so, you know, can't be too mad about it, quite frankly. It's overall an improvement for what a lot of the blue team was able to do compared to their last one. I think they swaps that came through end up aiding them a little bit as well. So I think it's great on them in that situation to be able to make it happen. But yeah, no, they look phenomenal. They look great. So we'll see what's going to happen here. As we're getting ready to get into our third map of the series, which is going to be Coliseo. By the looks of it, nobody flipping around. We'll keep the same teams as they were last time. I'm trying to see where, if there's with the other people that are also streaming this. I want to check in on them too. How are they doing? They having a good time? Well, we'll find out pretty soon right now. So we'll get ready to head into our third map here pretty soon. So, heading into the next one, we're going to see the bans start coming through. Blue's going to ban first. They're going to get rid of Domina. So, let's go ahead and swap that over. Again, we see a lot of the tank bans coming through for them as well. So, it's been kind of good to see. We'll see what the other ban is. Vendetta. Banned for Team Red. Okay. The Vendetta does find a lot of inherent value, and I think you saw they wanted to. You see Camarilla over on the Zarya, and that combination that we've seen in previous affairs has been really tough to deal with. But we're ready to head into this one. Map 3. On the day, it is now map 9. We've been at it for. So we've been at it for a hot minute now. Getting things going away. But either way, I mean, everything's looking great so far. Samarth is back on the Wrecking Ball for this one. Again, has gotten just a lot of value in general. DuckX, again, haven't seen a ton from them throughout the day so far. But it does put up those results. Find those early picks right there, and it's going to help them work through this one right here. So everyone's going to have to get out alive, take the reset, as you're getting a lot of inherent value from a lot of these people like Basong and Smarth. But we don't talk too much about like Orpheus or Echo, but they're doing a really good job as well. You've seen Carmody kind of continue to be good as the series goes on. Flat has had a really good consistency since map 1 as well. But we'll see what happens. This Basong down early. The bot's still progressing, though, as Smarth, hoping to find the power drive, doesn't get a whole lot of results from that one, unfortunately. But still, things opening up for them right now, as they're going to be forcing them back right now, as Smarth just wants to be able to stay alive. Is everyone else from Blue going to start moving forward? Let go down. Orpheus, lucky to be alive, almost gets taken out. Dragonite just short on that one, as they're going to start making their own progress. Yeah, hold the line. We're going to see Smarth again bring pressure, and Dragonite is just separated from the team. Is lucky to be alive right here. Pulse Bomb thrown out. Man, they want them dead, and that they do. You should be able to finish everybody else off. 16 meters is going to be the extent for the moment being. Ermac is just not going to get out of here alive, but Flat is being pursued. Is gonna have to get out with the recall, is pressured out, and is eventually just gonna get finished off. That is an excellent display right there of being able to keep up that aggression. Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. You see the mines coming out here for Samarth, causes separation, and Comedy has to be given the title blast just to try to stay alive, and eventually we'll get a little bit of heals inherently from it. So it keeps our chances of winning this alive, but that card is going to progress. Oh, it's right there for capping at 66 meters. It looks crazy right now when Draconite wants to try to take this one away, manages to get rid of one, as no forward spawns to be found here, as Doxix is gonna eventually win the 1v1, and somehow they're still in this. I don't know how that's even the case right now, but it's only Samarth and Basong, so I think you can't really do a whole lot here. If you know, you know. I do not know, so maybe I'll need the critical information later. We'll find out about that. But right now, things looking good right now is Bot hanging around midfield. Pulse Bomb going to be missed here. Flat has their own available still. Smarth going to move in, is literally at 1 health, is somehow kept up through it all. Basong going to go with the copy onto the Zarya in the back, eventually knocked out of it, not able to get online for that one, as we see big cleanse coming through here. Still, Flat does have a Pulse Bomb still ready, and it's going to stick beautifully. As Dragonite needs to get back into the fight, but the bot is finally going to start moving forward for the first time in a long time here, it feels like, for Blue, but there's still 6 minutes. There's a ton of time left to pull this one back. This grab, though, needs to be big from Murdy, who cannot afford to go down this early, as Consider Rush is going to come out from Doxus to be able to force everybody back into a bit of an awkward situation, as you're lucky to still have Murdy still alive right now, who has been going through absolute hell and will not be able to stay alive. Draconite, though, more than happy to try to keep things sustained, as Flat, who's been so consistent throughout the day, by the way, gets the melee. It helps get rid of a third. It's just Samarth left over on the point where the Mega's taken away as well. You're going to go for the chase, and they're going to get it. Flat so clutch in that fight, by the way. That is insanity. As you're taking the fight inside, Ermac is kind of just cut off the rest of the team, and now you have a grab going to this fight, and you should be able to contest in time. Yep, everyone going to be pushed back a little further. Draconite be ready with a Deadeye here pretty shortly. As mine's thrown up here, and that's a rough one. Draconite is just unfortunately not going to be able to sustain through that. Grab is thrown out solo onto Orpheus, and eventually we'll get it. I don't know if this is the value you're hoping to get out of it, though, as Samarth's going to be forced back. You kind of create the area a little bit to come back into this one as Samarth goes down. Cleanses here as well. The song forced back further and further, and man, I mean, Flat really is just looking fantastic right now. But everyone else needs to be able to keep these going with us right now. Let Go is able to grab them the health pack. It's going to be able to stay alive. But Flat is probably going to have to back out of this one pretty soon and get back with the rest of the team with 3 minutes left to be able to take the lead and honestly be able to take the checkpoint as well. It's absolutely massive as Orpheus is going to let this loose on the beat right now. You're trying to find a good separation right over here. Unfortunately, not able to. Is Draconite getting some pressure? Does have a Deadeye ready, as Consider Rush going to be used by Ermac to try to push them through here, and everybody needs to try to get out of here alive, and the Consider Rush just doesn't do a whole lot from there. See Samarth back with that ball right there. Has those adaptive shields online. Deadeye gonna be used here to force everybody back. Gonna be down to 1 health as Samarth get caught with it. It's just not enough because everyone's just staying alive. Like ultimately, no one is just dying from either of these squads, and it's absolutely fascinating as Pulse Bomb and Consider Rush thrown out here. Remember, Flat still has their own available. Samarth incredibly low. Needs to be chased down. It would be massive, and that it will be. As Basong gonna be forced back further and further. Lucky to still be alive, but with Comberty down, you should see things start to flip over, but again, they're not. The cart's gonna start moving forward. Ermac is gonna finish off another, and with that, you're gonna see Samarth try to make it back in time for a touch. Will be able to touch inherently and sustain for, I mean, quite a long while. Try to get the rest of the team back. The inherent value you get from a ball is absolutely mental. But another touch comes through, and the lead is going to be lost, as well as losing out on those spawns. And for the first time, you're really seeing things start to move forward for Team Blue. Yeah, they're kind of losing the fight, but that's not the biggest concern if you can get everybody out alive, as Deadeye going to be used here. Gonna be able to catch Orpheus out on that one, but that bot is still moving, by the way, which is not great, as a matter of fact. I don't know who's stalling at that point right now. Apparently, it's Flat right now who's going to sustain out a little while longer, but needs to try to get out and hopefully get the rest of the team out alive as well, as Consider Rush is available. Mine's thrown into the back line right here as Flat moves in, tries to get the finish, doesn't quite get it, and now you lose Samarth early on here. A rough one to lose this early, but again, Samarth can get back so quickly. It's not exactly a devastating result, all things considered, but the longer Samarth's in there, the more pressure you can kind of take away from the rest of your squad. Beats ready with Orpheus as well to sustain through this eventual Graviton Surge. At least that's what you're hoping for, but everything's so back and forth. This lead is by a tenth of a meter. It's insanity right now, as eventually Caught Murdy is just literally caught out. That's a rough one this early on, and you're trying to find another one. If you're Orpheus, you get 2 during this fight. You're still hanging around, but it's just Flat, still hanging alive. Would love to find one on the way out, literally down to 1 health. Eventually going to be taken out, as no forward spawns were taken back, by the way, so everyone has the far back spawn. But again, grab ready, but the beat is still available for Orpheus. doing what you can here, honestly. And with that consideration in hand for both squads, you're probably going to see a pretty aggressive approach here pretty soon with both of them being used. They're going to be coming out here. Again, you see the cleanse come out there flat with low to find some inherent value. You still have the beat available that you can use if you're Orpheus. But you really want to save it for this grab to be able to sustain through it. You would love to do so. In fact, you need to, as a matter of fact. You might see this grab, this pressure directly on them as Beat going to come out. Wall going to be used as well. It forces everything out, but still, Flat gets rid of Lecco, who was pulled into it. And now things going to open up. Deadeye going to be thrown out here to try to keep bodies alive. Giving everything to keep them alive. It just doesn't happen. And now you're seeing that things start to get very dangerous as without Carmody, who might have to swap to get touch, by the way. You're not even worried about it anymore. I think you potentially swap for touch. Somehow no one's gone down yet, by the way. That is insane to me. That you take a bit of a weird trade here that you don't hate, but you have the mines ready. If you're smart, you need to find value now. They're making your way over onto the point very quickly. Ermac going to try to get out of there alive. Going to try to flip for it, but Carmody drops onto the point. No, and has to hide inside. He's so lucky to still be alive, eventually down, and now it's going to be such a stall game here soon. Smarth, lucky to be alive, hacked out, so close to going down, but Cart's still moving forward. Smart down to 100 health. They need to close this one out right now, but Basong with an excellent pick right there to try to keep things going. Trying to get out of there alive, eventually will be gone, and you eventually have Ermac who gets rid of one. You're trying to keep everybody alive. Carmody is just keeping things going, though. Unfortunately, it's just out of cooldowns and is going to get burnt down. Flat is going to have one more inherent touch, and that is it right now. It's going to be able to have a pulse bomb around the corner. Thrown out into ether. Doesn't catch a whole lot, though, as it's going to be Carmody trying to get back in time, as Draconite is there. It's going to be able to sustain through it momentarily. But it's going to flip over. They are tied right now, technically. But I don't think this thing's going to last very much longer, unfortunately. Yeah, and it's going to push forward, and that's going to be Red Team with the win. But that is incredibly back and forth right there. Incredibly so. Wow. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a much better display for Blue Team. But again, they kind of get shut down. Yeah, honestly, Basong has been doing really consistently good so far today. It has been kind of nice to see. They've been shut down from time to time, obviously. I think Draconite's been improving a little bit of things have continued in as well. But you gotta figure out a little something here, because obviously it's not perfect. And no one is playing like perfect either. Like Smart, you could throw in a ballpark of playing extremely well, obviously. But right now, you've been seeing the gap closing more and more as things have gone on. So we'll see how things go from here. One thing we will say, though, as we're getting ready to head to Circuit Royale, is we are seeing some more swaps. So we are going to see... oh, well, maybe not. Maybe we won't see. Maybe things need to change. Maybe we'll check back in a second here and make sure everything is updated as it should. But right now, we see the backline has changed for Team Blue. We have Stethered and Essie coming in for this next map. Ultimately, going to replace Ermac and Farouk. I think we're doing pretty well in their own right, but you need to be able to see everybody as much as you possibly can in a situation like this, so that's why you're just to swap up as we are halfway through, as Ermac looks like they're going to be going for today. As remember, there's only 3 maps left in the rest of this block. I'll try to make sure I'm here for the rest of it. But, as I have to wait and see when I'm going to be heading out for the night. Because I have a voice to preserve. If y'all didn't know, this is going to be a long weekend. Like a long weekend, for me personally. And in fact, I'll cut over and I'll show you really quick. Just really quick, again, a little bit of display here as to what's going on this weekend. A little bit of fun stuff. We're back doing this again tomorrow night. Or not tomorrow night. Well, it's tomorrow night for y'all. It's tomorrow afternoon for me. We'll be back doing more tryouts tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun. We're also doing tryouts for Team Chile over the course of every night this weekend. It's going to be fantastic. And we have a show match. Pretty late one at that, but Costa Rica and Team Puerto Rico are going to be going at it, and I'm excited to see both of those squads and how they've improved since the last time we saw them on display. So I'm excited. I think it's going to go fantastic. I'm really excited for all of it. But obviously, we're focused on this game here today and how things have been going. So red team has the first ban in this situation. We'll see what they want to get rid of here, as we'll see pretty shortly. But no, everyone, how are y'all enjoying it so far? Obviously, first map is kind of a wipe, but I feel like it's gotten closer and closer as we move forward. So I've been pretty entertained by it. That first block was extremely entertaining, honestly, and this one has been pretty good so far too. I forgot, Stanum's due close tonight for the OWCS qualifiers. Close tonight, and then they start tomorrow. Mauga is going to be banned. Team Red's banned. We'll go ahead and swap that out. Mauga, going to be the ban there. I would like to escape, please. Thank you very much. So no more Mauga. We did see the Mauga back over on Havana for a little bit of time from Cotmurdy. So honestly, solid ban, just to get it out of the way. Don't have to deal with it. But that means now you have the combo with the Zarya and the Vendetta available for them, which they're going to take pretty good advantage of here. It's one of the strongest comps in the game right now, honestly. And unless there's a patch that defines elsewise, I think that's how things are going to stay. Domina, in her own right, is very strong, but I don't know if they're strong enough at a point where you could genuinely consider putting them in over Zarya majority of the time. Because it's very much like, we look back at the days of On a Break being the best backline in the game, without question, for a considerable period of time. It's not because one is inherently, like, super OP. It is because they both work so well and mesh so well together that their survivability is unmatched by any other support duo. That's just how it is. That's how this goes down. But we gotta focus in on this. You just woke up. Honestly, fair enough. It's been a long day. If you didn't know, we are in this is map 10 right now, TC, of the day so far of the blocks. Been here for every single one. And it's been a long one already. Been here for a hot minute. But, again, you see the Vendetta on display early on. Smarth has to end up going into the Nemesis form just to be able to sustain through all of it. You're going to see Flat try to get a ton of value, and will right out the gate here on the Vendetta. Again, it just shows how strong this Vendetta is this early on, and while they will eventually be shut down, the damage has already been done as Smarth, last one, actually Letgo's still in there as well, wants to try to get out alive, and will be able to do so as the point eventually going to be capped by Blue. Oh, you see the initial touch to try to stop it, but it's just not going to happen. You say Dev. Who is Dev in particular? So I'm looking at the names, and my brain is not computing. And Basong is in. Yeah, Basong's had a really good day so far. Let's keep that a buck. But again, you've seen Samarth do a lot. But again, you've also seen Dragonite get way better as this has proceeded onward right here. You take a little bit of a weird trade out, but Flat being gone means Cummarty loses a lot of inherent value, but it doesn't matter because you have Stillard who was doing a lot in that original first block on the Lucio and is kind of doing a lot here as Dragonite, yes, very much disgusting hero to have to deal with sometimes. But it's a really good display so far from them. As you see again, the pressure over on the point, Dragonite making their way back as Lekko, I'd say, is the touch, but there's still plenty of time right now as they try to force some bodies to have to drop down and chase a little bit. Make your fight up top a little bit easier to deal with right here as you have a Pulse Bomb ready to go. Cleanse is still ready, though, as the point almost lit sober, but Flat gets rid of one, gets rid of another, and Samarth is going to be eventually shut down here. At the very least, should be able to escape alive. You see the pursuing going through as, again, lucky to be alive as Doxus will eventually go down. Samarth is just too far separated. And this, I think this is exactly what you wanted to see from Blue side throughout the whole block so far. Is, hey, what can we do in this specific situation? You know, where we can play something that we think is the strongest thing possible, which it is, and Cleanse there, but it's the bubble that's going to stop the bomb more than anything else. And now you're going to have so much on the line here, so much on display. If you're Orpheus, you are praying you manage to get this beat up on time. That you will. So now the grab will have be able to deal something right here. As Kitsune Rush is out, trying to find some activity. That it will, as Orpheus and is tethered both down, so the Lucio's not in the lineups any longer. Flat not able to get it out. You're hoping to at least find the initial cap. That you will, but they're going to have to give this up very quickly. Wow, wow, and wow. Oh my god, they released Fire Red and Leaf Green for the Switch and Switch 2? Alright, I'm gonna talk about that later. That's off topic, but one thing I do know is Pulse Summon is available for Dragonite right now, who again has been improving over the course of the block. With this team right here, grab thrown out here with the Sundering Blade as it's gonna cut down 2. Nothing you can do there. Samarth also going to be gone. The beat is not gonna help you there. It's the right call by Orpheus, 110%. But there's just nothing you can do there to make things better for yourself. As Orpheus just goes off the edge. 58% on the board. As you still are going to have the beat for this next fight, because Samarth does have this grab ready to go, and they have their own combo now, too. We'll see right now, as they're going to move in with their own Sundering Blade with that. Unfortunately, doesn't find the same level of value. But still, you have Flat kind of forced into a little corner right here. Dragonite still has a Pulse Bomb way away from the point. It's kind of been pressured away by Lecco. Flat available to come and help and take care of business. Unfortunately, I don't think you can pull this one back at this stage of the game. The point's going to get flipped over without anybody really getting there. And unfortunately, that means Commerty is going to lose all this charge here pretty shortly. And you're not going to be able to commit to another full touch. So this next point should be done and dusted, especially with Dragonite dead. You should be able to sit here and just get this cap. Okay, Samarth is dead. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Touch comes through at the last second, by the way, as Samarth gets that inherent value. I'll try to learn names more. But either way, we're gonna make it 1-1 here. Remember, as we had to funnily explain earlier, because players forgot. No matter how the scoreline goes, all 5 points are gonna be played here for Flashpoint. So even if one of these teams goes up 3-1. The 5th one will be played regardless. We had a fun thing where what was it, Death Killer used their Primal Rage after the 4th point, forgetting that there is still a 5th one to be played. It was kind of funny. Cannot lie. But either way, we're heading over to our 3rd point. Hoping to find some value. We're still quite a bit off of these combos right now. Flat has been trying to build theirs up as well as possible. In fact, has Samarth completely separated away. Clean's going to be there online. Both of them almost cut down, but this one not done quite yet. Beat going to be used here as you have Dragonite still hanging around. Is pressure eventually needs to be delivered to the point. Flat needs to be able to stay alive through this all. Is so close to going down. It eventually will. Dox is going to help them try to move in and shut this fight down as they will burn them down. Point will flip to red for the time being, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. Yeah, you've been seeing Basong get really comfortable on the Vendetta very quickly as well. Like, incredibly so. But you're going to have Kitsune Rush here, which is used extremely quickly as Orpheus just gets blown from the stratosphere, by the way. Deoxys, like the Pokemon, my god, is forced back away. Pulse Bomb still available here. As Samarth is down, everyone just needs to be able to survive and keep things going as you're going to try to see Lecco stall for a little bit longer. We'll get them up to a crispy 63%. And now, you're going to have both of the combos here pretty soon between the Sundering Blade and the Graviton Surge. As I'm excited to see where it'll go from here, as these combos should be used relatively aggressively, I would say. we'll see how things go right now. Flat is in there pretty deep. Smart would love to get this Graviton Surge online. I think it'd be massive to get at this point, because I think it'd be used very aggressively in this display. But Grav can be thrown out. I don't know if it gets anybody. It's going to get somebody, as it has to be used, and they're going to lose out on the combo entirely. Ah, that is a rough one. So they're going to lose this point. And now, unfortunately, I mean, while Southern Fox does have the beat ready, we saw before when Smart and Lekko tried to stay alive with the beat. It got obliterated last time with it. I love Ayamundo. Thank you for following, by the way, as we're getting ready for this next fight. And the combo works beautifully. Again, it doesn't matter when you have that beat. It will not help you. Dragonite's still alive. Unfortunately, would be lucky to get out of here alive, quite frankly. He's going to have to just probably eat the death here. That they will. As we head over to the 4th point, where, once again, every single point, a flashpoint will be played. So even if Red takes his 3rd one, we'll play the last one anyway. But you're going to see, obviously, teams play like this is the one that's going to win it for them or lose it for them. That's what you have to do in a situation like this, regardless. As Doctix is going to have this Consider Rush available here, is looking for the opportunity, but without Orpheus, I don't think you can reasonably pull the trigger here, but you're going to try anyway. You get rid of Flat, you keep your chances alive, as Carmody is going to be kept alive, it's close to burning down. As Smart gonna go at it, will be able to survive and burn down everybody else. As Red going to take another fight here. As, man, it's rough fights for Blue to be losing at this point. We'll see how things go from here, though. Consider Rush is available. You don't have to deal with the Graviton Surge yet, but it's going to go directly across. Here comes some aggression coming through. Remember, Orpheus does have a beat ready. He's going to go down, though. He's going to opt to not pull it out. As Smart as he to stay alive, just not going to be able to in that situation. So at this point, you're just stalling for what you can, as Primordial has already gotten 2 of their own, and they're going to be able to clean things up at 68% here. And now, Sundering Blade available, but the Grav not quite there yet. That. But we'll see what happens here soon. As again, we're going to have that combo here pretty soon for both sides. As Flat is just going to use it just as it is, and Beat comes out, and it's going to help him sustain through as they're going to be able to cut through body after body. Flat just dropped down, but we should be able to see a little bit of finish right here. As this is some great stall from Lekko to get that, as they are going to get it to 60%, and now. Grab's available, but Basong is going to have a Sundering Blade for the combo once again. You're worried about getting the touch here, but honestly, it's not the biggest worry. You have Lekko for an easy touch if you really want to force a touch no matter what. But there it is. Beat can be used by Orpheus to try to move them in. They would love to win this fight without having to use the combo right here, if they can avoid it entirely. And with Basong down, I don't know. You're going to see the flip come through because they're going to focus on the fight at hand as Crab will be throwing in. Everybody's in that thing, by the way. Lekko gets the 3K Pulse Bomb to finish them all off. And with that being the case, death comes through. And that's going to be 3-1 in favor of Red. But remember, we will still be playing the last point. So that is a deadly combo. The oldest trick in the book. Now, insanity. That is insanity. Sundering Blade going to be used here early on, hoping to find some kind of value. Cleanse is going to keep Komurdi alive through all of it. He's almost going to get cut through down anyway. Everyone's close to going down already. Just barely missed out on that one, but Basong finds the finish anyway. And now, yeah, they're just be forced into a corner. Everybody finished off, and they're going to run to this 5th and final point. Looking incredible right now. Wow, wow, and wow. Come ready. Right now, Graviton Surge at the ready. Doesn't have the combo for it, but again, doesn't really particularly need it. There's not a beat ready either. So if you just find a couple of really good targets to throw this onto, you might just toss this and try to get some value. You see the cleanse is gone as well, so with Consumer Rush available, you have something to go in right now. I believe you pull one person in there right now, as you're going to see Flat cut down Orpheus and try to keep things going. Samarth is separated. Cleanse is going to keep them alive momentarily. But with that Consumer Rush dealing with Flat, it's just not going to happen, as they're going to be able to cut that one down. A little bit of sustain here from Basong, who eventually will go down. But remember, they cap that early, so they still get 62% from that whole exchange. Honestly incredible the entire time. Draconite still hanging around, has a Pulse Bomb at the ready. You also have your beats online as well to sustain through some of these things like the Southern Blades or the Graviton Surges, but neither of the inherent combo with the Southern Blade and the Surge is ready. Beats can be used here aggressively. Pulse Bomb directly over on Smart, as Orpheus gonna have to pull this one out, and now Flat, he's probably considering the idea of using the Sundering Blade. He's gonna go for it, and unfortunately it's just in such an awkward position. That's just the second time now where it just hasn't worked out that well. They're gonna run down Murdy, who, again, lucky to be alive. You want to sustain through it, you want to force something out, and the Graviton Surge is going to be forced out here. You hoping you take that death right now, as Dragonite gonna get out of there alive, and you get one more touch here, but Dragonite has to keep running. Insanity, man. Insanity. And now you're going to this last fight. It should be the last fight overall. You do not have anything. You have, obviously, double Pulse Bomb. Not double Pulse Bomb, but the Pulse Bomb on display. But the touch doesn't even come online, man. Man. That is a rough way to finish that one. That's going to be a 4-1 right there for Team Red, as they look great once again. And that is quite the something right there. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Red has looked great throughout the day so far. They have looked fantastic. And it's not an entirely one-sided display by any means, obviously. But, you know, it's just them doing what they do best right now. It's incredible to watch. I think, again, Basong and Samarth have been really consistent. Samarth was being pretty even with Comerdy for the longest time. But we do see something very interesting on display here, as they're going to swap sides with Samarth and Murdy. So you're going to see eventually if any more swaps come through. But while we wait for those swaps to come through, I'm going to quickly grab myself another bottle of water, because it has been a long time already. All right, we are back. We are back, and potentially better than ever. We'll go to the jury on that. Also, the score is not 34-0. I promise you, it is not. I may make a promise. That is not what it is. But from what I'm seeing, nothing else changing as of this moment. Ego grab might be a bit of an ego grab, low key, just maybe a little bit. But yeah, no, it's just the tank swap right now. Everything else is the exact same. You want to see how Smarth does it on the other side. You are wanting to move people around and see how they work with others. Because that individual skill, obviously, it matters a ton. But also, the ability to see how well certain people work with each other is also extremely important. It's incredibly important. No more bans, so obviously I'll go ahead and turn our bans off, so no bans going into this map. And I think going forward, no more bans at all. Any comp available. Time to go Mercy. Love to see it. I'm excited to see where we go from here, as with no bans and no nothing, everyone should be ready here pretty soon. Yeah, it's been a long day for some people. For Essie and Stithard, it's been a long day already. They've played probably more maps than anybody else today. Maybe Leko's in that conversation,
Charmed, I'm sure.
as we do see that. Is there a swap? There was not a swap. I'm gaslighting myself, everyone. I'm classic at that. I love doing that.
We have an understanding. We have an understanding.
This
Sus
sucker is
egal.
everything proof.
Either way, things are looking good so far. We're ready to head into another map in this block. I believe only 2 more to go, this one included. We'll see how it goes from here, as we have caught Murdy back over on the Diva. But interesting enough, the Pharmacy going to be thrown out here. Basong, who's been really consistent so far, going to be given a little bit of help by Orpheus, and Stithard just gets directed immediately. That is a rough thing to happen this early on, but still doesn't doom the point by any stretch of the imagination. Samarth is going to focus on being able to stay alive, just to stay on through it. More than anything else, you need to try to shut down this Mercy, and it happens really quickly. Samarth with the immediate investment, and with Stithard back over into the fight, they're going to be able to shut down Murdy. So while you are going to get a tick here, that is going to be the extent, as Leko hanging around in the back does not get rid of SESE, protecting themselves, sustaining through it all.
Well, hello.
Beautiful, beautiful indeed.
Sus egal. Charmed, I'm sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll see what Dev slash Samarth can be able to do here now that they're on the blue squad. It will be quite something if that ends up being the case. But I will say we are going 6, as Samarth does get rid of Duxius. But still, trade-outs begin to come through. Samarth gets a 4th already, is able to help build them away, and is able to help get rid of a 4th. Incredible. Right there to shut them all down. Again, that Domina is in a really strong place right now. It's really difficult to deal with, and I think that's why you partially see Orpheus give themselves a little more protection. Gonna go over to the Brigitte instead of going with the Pharah with the Mercy. Honestly, this barrage is gonna be the toughest thing for Basong to get off, because as consistent as they have been, there's no room to slip in and get this thing. You just kind of have to wait for Samarth to go up too far and burn him down as a result. But unfortunately, that's not gonna happen, as Samarth has gotten rid of 2 already. You throw that up front, and now you're kind of just hoping to find something. Unfortunately for Orpheus, he's not gonna stay alive. Dawnful, you're gonna have to give me some context on that one later on. But rough display, as Basong is gonna lick out the barrage and burns away. You can't commit these evils. You can't do them this dirty. You cannot. Oh, and now all 5 ultimates available. It's just not looking pretty right now. But again, you got to try to find something out here. You're going to be in situations like this where you don't know what the answer is, and you'll have to find them. You find a little bit of answer, though, as Basong is able to get rid of Flat to keep things going and keep them alive right here. Because remember, this was almost an immediate take for Red Team. We were very much in that territory. Nano thrown in right here, and you're going to try to slam down on Samarth right now, who is getting lower. He's going to be burnt down eventually, but you take out a weird trade right there. That was 4 ultimates throughout this entire display, as Draconite is been clicking heads so far throughout this whole map. The problem is that Black getting back into the fight, stick directly on to Murdy, who's going to have to run and grab the Mega Health Pack to make it back into this one right now, as Leko incredibly low. Has to hide away. Needs to really stay hidden, as things are just even back out. And now you're going to have the Panopticon on the Domina on display here. Leko, though, gets the assassination onto Dragonite, so he's keeping things going. As Pulse Bomb there, and is going to help burn them away. Team Red should be able to eventually burn this thing away and take this first point. But Leko comes back, gets rid of 2. As, yeah, they're going to be able to help clear things out right here, as Flat still in the back line. He's going to be pursued, but he's going to run super far away.
Sus egal. Well, hello. Our opposition is moving the payload.
Either way, they're going to keep moving forward. I mean, they're going to have the cage fight now going into this fight right now. Panopticon available still for Smart. But this is where these tanks are not going to get as much inherent value on the second point. It's going to be all about how much value you can get from attacking these high grounds. Because you're going to have someone just sitting on point right now, and I believe that's Lecco who's currently sitting on point, but this gets forced out. Because Flat is still back there, eventually going to be taken care of, but again, you take the trade out here, and you don't hate it at the end of the day. Orpheus is just going to stay over on that point and keep trying to get value for their squad, but it's just getting so much pressure. Like, that is incredible. Just keeping the pressure on no matter what, making sure that this is not an easy push for you. Nano ready at this time as Comrade is just barely able to get back inside. Same thing right there for Orpheus. Now you're hoping he's... Oh, the song gets slept from Kingdom Come. Nap time, apparently. And he's going to get burnt away. That is an incredible display right there. As Pulse Bomb going to miss out. Going to be able to get at least rid of the healing there a little bit. But Smart pulled in. Has all the healing in the world. Is going to hit that Panopticon right there to try to sustain through it all. Still somehow hanging in there. And is eventually going to be able to sustain through it all. Oh, that is incredible. Lecco is still there. Hitting the recall is going to try to hang alive as Basong. Massive pick to really stop this fight from being a complete deletion.
60 seconds remaining.
Captive Sun still available though. While there is a cleanse to be able to sustain through it, you still have to be incredibly careful as to how you approach this one. As Basong, oh my god, you have to respect the space. You have to respect the angle right there as eventually he gets forced out, but still takes one with them. And now Lecco more than happy to move forward. Keep finishing them off right now. Samarth forced into the corner. Eventually going to be cleared out. This should be the second point. Eventually capped here as Cotmarty is going to be able to keep them going. And now you're going to have a little under 2 minutes on the clock to get through third. It is a crazy statement, I will say. Bob can be ready here, though. We'll see as Lecco throws out a Pulse Bomb. Unfortunately, hitting the generator does not do anything for you. I hate to tell you. Oh, hello, lobby. But stick goes through as Flat. Gonna catch on to Orpheus. Will eventually die as a result. But again, you don't hate this at the end of the day inherently. Even Flat's a little miffed by the situation at hand. That's fine. As Samar's going to try to do their best to be able to survive, as Bob can be thrown out in their stead. It's not in the most convenient spot in the world, I'll tell you that much. So, sustainability is quite fine here for both sides, quite frankly. You've got to worry about, again, trying to find some value, as Basong would love to find something. Unfortunately, gets caught out in the cleanse. Misses by like a quarter of a second, and that should settle this one right here. Smart's going to get the nano and move in. Gets rid of two more. Able to get rid of a third. Smart looking great still on the squad. As we're in final fight territory with a... Looks like it's going to be a cage fight and a Kitsune rush.
30 seconds
Still going, though. Final fight territory. Need to find some level of inherent value. Remember, Panopticon's still going to be available here for Samar. The cleanse comes through at a perfect time. It's going to be thrown on, and unfortunately, Duxus is going to be taken out right there. Point is still going to need a toucher right now, and Orpheus, he's probably got the build to the speed to let it loose, but doesn't get it in time. He's going to be pushed away from the thing. Does, I believe, get the immediate touch right there afterwards to be able to try to sustain through it. You have Orpheus who needs to try to run back in and inherently get this beat up online. Kitsune Rush going to be used to try to help him sustain through a little bit more. As Smart eventually going to be burnt down flat, still hanging around, trying to give a little pressure to the backline as Orpheus going to let things go with that beat. Everything going to slow down momentarily as Flat still hanging on the back. Draconite going to come back. Well, thought about coming back over there. Instead, going to hit the Venture. Wants to hit the stall game a little bit more, but with no more ultimates left on the board here, it's going to be about raw fighting technique here as Smart coming back on the ball, and things could be brutal to this effect right here. Thrown up in the air is Orpheus as taking a nice little nap, and eventually they're going to be forced away from the point as they're going to be stopped just a few meters short of finishing. Still a good display for them right there, but it's an incredible display overall to pull that one out, genuinely. Wow. Take a look at those stats as well. We haven't talked too much about stats. Been showing them, but I haven't really talking about them too much. Most damage, close, but it's going to go over to Dragon Knight, who's been pretty consistent as well. Smart's kept up a really good level of consistency, being 24 and 5 right now. Honestly, a lot of sustainability. But Song has been shut down, I think, more than we've seen them been shut down throughout the entire series. Honestly. Which is always weird to see. From what we've seen through them throughout the entire day, to the point where Basong was just shutting down Havan almost single-handedly at times. But we'll see where it goes from here as we are ready for the attack of Team Blue to get things going. And I know I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing because that's not how that works. Wait, I need to check something really quick. Are they on? Okay, they're not. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
I was about to say, wait, why are they able to pick 3 supports? I think that's just the way the scrim code is. I don't know. We'll argue about it later on. We'll have a whole fun conversation later. Right now, we are focused in on this. As Smarth over on the Sigma for this one right here. Trying to keep things going beautifully right now as you're trying to force Comrade into a weird situation, being over on that Ramatra now, who just gets anti slapped, pushed into Kingdom Come. Lucky to still be alive, honestly. But these supports have been really consistent throughout the day, keeping both of their tanks going. It's been great. It's been fantastic, for that matter. But Basong gonna be the first one to go down. Let Go eventually taken care of as well. So again, it's a good start for Blue, who's gonna be able to start putting bodies over on this point and start taking this one away. As you see the separation right there from Comrade, who's gonna be hit with the anti, and first plate's already done and dusted, man. That is rough. And you see the nade. We'll see if that gets any value. I see it kind of in the background right there. Did not find value, unfortunately. Well, it honestly would have been really funny if it did, but it just will not. But Let Go is the one finding value right now. Hits the pulse over onto Steathered Fox. Also gets rid of the kills as well. Love to see it. But you see the pressure still being delivered right here. Steathered has a Sundering Blade, not Sundering Blade, a Captive Sun available. Don't know why I wanted to call it a blade. It's not inherently a blade. It's a railgun more than anything else here. But we see Basong still over on the Widowmaker as well. Double Spur Ultimates available soon for both sides, but you already have it online as Flat is going to be given it initially to keep things going. Needs to try to get somebody. Eventually gets rid of Orpheus as Basong is shut down. Oh, I'm already more than happy to help keep shutting them down right there, as you're going to be able to get away momentarily, but Smarth with the great finish, still 4 minutes on the clock, and now they have great control of the high ground. We'll see shortly here what's going on. We're going to see in the background, 2 are going to be caught, hoping to find it with the sleep, but neither are going to stay alive. Samarth finishes them off here, as eventually Comrade is going to be done out as well. And now, obviously, rough situation to try to pull this one back. You would love to make it back. Leko is still alive and has the ability to touch a little bit here. Pulse Bomb thrown out onto him is going to be able to force Samarth into a weird situation, but unfortunately, the healing is too much to deal with. As you're going to see Catch of Stun be ready, as you're looking for any kind of target right now. Eventually you throw it down, you catch it onto one, as Flat going to be able to help clear things out, as Comrade uses Annihilation, but it's not going to mean a thing as they are finished out. We'll see how things go from here, though. Obviously, excited still, as a ton of time on the clock here to try to push that in. Remember, need to basically finish the map to beat what they were able to do earlier. And Smarth close to going down. Still being kept going. Will be able to stay alive as well, as we still have a Nano available way in the back line, as Steathered gets rid of Leko early. So the bleeding is just going to continue. You step it a little bit right there, but again, you have to throw a nano out onto Comrade just to keep yourselves honestly alive in this entire round right here. Eventually forcing bodies back. Draconite going to be forced back, is eventually going to be given the nano to try to burn through bodies. Is eventually going to get through another. You see one of the backline still is, it's still going to be the touch available here for Maleko, who's doing what they can right here, but is just going to have to try to run for it and get there in time. As Smarth is just finishing off body after body right now. Gets rid of a second. Help gets rid of a third, and now, unfortunately, for the rest of the squad, they're going to not only get that push right there and take that lead away, but they're also moments away from taking this one in full, and that they will. They finish the map with plenty of time on display. That is insanity. That is not a draw. That is a big takeover right there. To pull that one ahead. That's incredible. Wow. I mean, that is just incredible right there. Incredible. By the way, we are heading into what's going to be our final map of the night. Getting ready to look into this one right here as, again, final one of the night on display. Remember, no ban still in place. Every comp is very much available. We'll see what we see at the end of the day. This is the last display for day one, but remember, there's still more days of tryouts to come after this. We're covering this again tomorrow, same time, same place, probably same length as well, quite honestly. But we'll see what comes to display here. We'll see what the flexibility is as well, because right now, obviously, Samarth currently representing the ball once more, as we've seen pretty prolifically and consistently throughout the series. But it hasn't been a must-pick for them either. It really hasn't. Not to any degree. It's been really strong. Yeah, those sets are incredible, honestly, from Samarth. Like again, I don't want to sit here and glaze any person particularly more than anybody else, but I think Smarth has been the most consistent person throughout the day. I think Draconite has gotten really good as, obviously you go compared to map 1 and where we are now, has gotten really good. Basong, who started really strong, started getting a little more quiet. But Comrade, I don't think is playing bad realistically. Coincidence, I think not. Honestly, maybe. Because Comrade's doing what they can. I don't think Comrade's doing a bad job whatsoever. But Smarth has just been incredibly consistent and rough to deal with. It's a rough situation, but that's the way things are right now. Either way, we're getting ready for the final map of y'all's evening here. We're day 1 of the trials. And obviously, we'll see who else we see in the coming days as well. Obviously, there is some other players that, obviously, we saw back on the World Cup team of 2023 on display. And I know I looked at it much earlier. But maybe we'll take a look at it after this is done. But good lord. Sneeze finally came through. May have taken 4 hours, but it happened. Smart's going to look for the boop right there. Doesn't quite find it. He's still going to try to find it right now. Honestly, I love it at the end of the day. Why not? Soxus ends up being down first and foremost as the pile drive just barely going to miss out. We're down to the Tracer 1v1. That quickly becomes a 1v2 as Samarth is going to try to move in and inherently shut bodies down. Comrade just going to go down as well. So a point going to go in their favor to get things started right here as Song going to try to get out alive, just is probably not going to be able to. Recall thrown out, but it feels like an inevitability, and that it will be. But I was talking about it before, players that we saw before that were in it last time and are in it now. But we're keeping this one going. You know? Keep things going. Keep them alive. But you're already entering the 40-meter mark. And moving forward, Comrade, though, is going to stem some bleeding, getting rid of Lecco. So we'll see where things go inherently from here to try to keep things going. But again, they're looking great so far. Only person we've seen today so far that has been for sure in the previous lineup before, obviously Farouk, who I think has had obviously not in anymore, but had a really consistent day overall and doing a really good job. But there's been a lot of big people making a name for themselves here today. As Dragon going to be separated, gets the cleanse at the last second as Comrade is just in really deep here, is going to be able to get out alive and take a little bit of a reset here. But Lecco coming back in, has a pulse bomb right around the corner. Just trying to keep this going. You're my world, indeed. But Comrade, hey, into doing good here. Gets rid of 2, make it 3. Is going to help shut bodies down again as that bot going to be taking away lead. Going to head over to the red squad once more. As I realize I have the scores incorrect here. Give me a second on that. 4-1 now, technically. I've been crazy. I am a crazy person. But anyway, you see, Mines be ready for some marks. They're going right on the point, and unfortunately for Orpheus, has no choice but to fall directly back over onto them. You're going to see Dragonite double down in this fight as well to try to clear out an extra body or two, and that they will. You see Comrade going to try to get out alive. It's just not going to happen. Be cleaned up there. Yeah, Blue did. Yeah. So by the time the stream has caught up, yeah, they did. I just labeled it incorrectly. My brain associates Smarth with the red team now in my mind, but yeah, it has been fixed, as you are seeing now. But hey, double spoils for both sides. Probably see the double continue rush here pretty aggressively here. I think the moment you see Doxus kind of throw it down, you'll see the immediate response here. But we'll see momentarily, as for the time being, not able to survive, so downpour needs to come through. Samarth is caught out in it, is going to get the beat to be able to stay alive as well. It has to be thrown out quickly from Orpheus trying to pull this fight back around. Unfortunately, they already are losing people. And unfortunately, Flat is forced into a really weird situation where their death is now inevitable. So they're going to be able to start taking it back the other way to try to take this lead back. And actually, they're kind of right there. They should be able to take not that, but also the checkpoint itself. If they get on the cart, that is. There they go. Let Delta, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate you. Y'all have been fantastic today. Again, we are on our last map for the day as well, as Samarth goes in a little too deep to try to find the finish over on the flat. Just does not happen, unfortunately. Orpheus going to help us start finishing bodies off right here. So 64 meters going to be the extent of things for now, as Lecco just going to keep stalling things out for a while. Honestly, great job stalling. Everybody going to get the forward spawns as Lecco latches on to SC's respawn as well, as you're going to see the mines be used here, and it's going to not get anybody out the gate, but it's going to clear everybody out, and that's what you want to do. You want to cause as much separation as humanly possible at the end of the day if you're smart with these mines. And I think you do that. You don't finish anybody off quite yet. Orpheus is separated. Eventually, both sports come back with each other, and they're able to keep Smart away. Unfortunately, Comrade is just so deep into the lineup that there's nothing inherently that you can really do in that situation right there. But still, fight's going a little back and forth. Essie is down. Unfortunately, that's as far as this one's going to go with that. But heading back the other way, a Smart squad looking to extend their lead further. Big pound drive comes through. Ducks is still in a rough situation. Mega, I think, got taken for a moment there. Let go, a little lucky to be alive. Samarth is entering a similar realm. Very lucky to be alive, as you're going to see the captive visor here for Dragonite. Already get rid of one, hoping to keep taking care of business, as you do see Comrade is in super aggressively. It is not going to work out, though, as you're going to keep this moving forward. 85 meters and counting. You could be looking to close this one out right here and now, potentially, depending on how things go from this point forward. Lecco still has a pulse bomb at the ready as we reach the 100-meter mark. Flat needs to find at least one here to find some inherent value, but there's none to be found. Stellar Fox does go down, so no beat available, and still, you're trying to stay in as best you can, but Carmurti is just going to go down to the Pulse Bomb. This lead's going to keep moving forward, and this thing could be done and dusted. This is incredible what they're pulling off right now, and Smart is able to help get rid of Flat right here as they're going to start finishing body after body off. They have to throw their way on. Eventually, Downpour comes through. It gets blocked away right there. Everyone thrown into the corner right now. Mega going to be picked up as Basong goes with the Pulse Bomb. It's not going to hit, and that should be your ball game for the day right there. It's a strong finish right there for Blue to take that one away. And that's a big one right there. And you see the GGs, everyone in the chat. That is your ball game today. As we'll see the actual play of the game to finish things out. I mean, Carmurti having a good moment right here for sure. But that's your day. That's your trial. So that is all 12 maps that have been played today. Everybody looking good, quite frankly. I think everyone had good bright spots. I think everyone, really showed what they can do today. And that's what you want. I talked to this with Spectron earlier. And what we want more than anything, we want everyone to look strong in this situation. We want every player that tries out over these next few days to be strong. So that, obviously, Turkey can be as strong as they possibly can be. If you're just a fan of the esport, a fan of competition, you want to have a bunch of really tough teams and tough players throughout not just EMEA, but the world. You want to have the best competition possible, ultimately. You want the World Cup this year to be hype. Like how it felt to be back in 2023 where, post, world entering an apocalypse, we were able to see things go a very particular way, where we brought back the World Cup. Everyone was so excited, and it was so much fun. And right now, I'm excited and having so much fun. Being able to stay here with y'all for 4 hours and go through these tryouts. So this was a lot of fun. But no, I had a great time here today. I think this was phenomenal. But we're ready to be done with things here today. So I'm gonna send it off to Tio here in a second. Because there's just nothing left to do, honestly. As Tio's just kind of big chilling out here right now. I think it's probably gonna play the game. I don't know. We'll see in a second here as to what's gonna happen. But like I said, we will be back tomorrow for some more of these. So I'm very excited for that. I want to talk more about this, but I might spend more time tomorrow talking about it. I'll have one of my other casting friends helping me out tomorrow for a little while as well. Should be really fun. But I'm gonna send it over to Tio. I appreciate y'all joining me here today, and I'll see you tomorrow. But if you want to stick around, if you're someone who is likes to stay up late, we do have stuff for Team Chalet's trials later tonight as well, so I'm excited for that. But thank y'all for being here. Y'all give a bunch of support today. Y'all are fantastic. So we will see you tomorrow. So everyone, take care. Catch you then.